Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And then I'm trying to see, like, it's saying we're live, but
I wonder if it's
oh, we are live. Yeah,
okay.
we are live
All
because I
right.
had to
Well, the
reset.
Illuminati sniped the stream, y'all. I'm
I'm
sorry.
saying though, what the fuck? All right,
Wow.
Grayson, we're gonna cue you up one more time. Tell everybody who you are and what you do, and then we'll see how far we can get into the stream.
Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Grayson. My YouTube channel is Based Theory. I do debates against pseudoscientific topics, like we may potentially be about to see tonight if the stream doesn't get shut down immediately before we even press play on the video.
Right?
Right. God. All right. So, holy shit. I'm very afraid.
Yeah, so I will just call them the TP Project from now on, so I don't directly say their name, but it seems like they might have struck down the stream even before it started for just
Right.
uttering
What
their
the
name three
fuck?
times.
We don't know though.
We don't know, but we
Yeah.
are going to be careful. So we're going to be stopping and starting a lot, and so that's going to be the tone of tonight's. Holy shit! All right.
Wow.
Right.
We
All right,
made it, Maya.
Right.
We're getting canceled.
We've been canceled. Oh, we've arrived. All right, let's go.
All right.
A thunderstorm can be a terrifying event,
True.
perhaps touching something beneath the surface of consciousness.
Oh,
What?
okay, stop.
Even today,
Yeah,
science...
stop.
What?
You can't let that ride.
Is the most charitable reading that I can even imagine for that wild statement right out the bat was that he's saying like fear is like subconscious. So like if we feel terrified at lightning, we're probing the unconscious. That's literally the only way I can make that make sense to me.
I mean,
I
I'm
don't.
thinking like maybe he's like likening like neurons firing in the brain to thunderstorms to be charitable.
Yeah. We're spending a lot of charity already.
Trying, but like I don't know how you make that jump from but Doc,
Boldly.
anything?
Yeah, that's how you make it. You just boldly go forth where no three neurons have ever gone before.
You're right. Lightning touches below the surface of consciousness.
Yeah, a small brain is able to fit into little crevices a big brain won't be able to, right? So
I'm just saying.
makes sense. Yeah.
surface of consciousness. Even today, science does not understand lightning's cause,
Yes, we do.
but with
Yes, we do. Like,
I mean it's highly understood.
yeah.
Actually, Tab,
What, like-
would you like to? I mean, this is almost like great.
My grandfather was basically Thor, okay? Giant metal ball that can produce lightning zapping out of it, okay? We understand how lightning works. Are there mysteries? There are always mysteries, okay? That's why science is fun.
But this is not one of them. Like,
No!
right.
like
Thunder is not one
that's
of-
what
Thunder
baffles me
is not
right
one of
off the
them.
bat. Nobody
Yeah.
really knows how lightning works today.
It's
I mean,
like
what
saying
day
we
is
don't...
this?
Yeah,
Maybe
I
if
mean,
this was made in like the 1800s.
honestly, even then they had most of the idea.
Well, they had
Like,
Maxwell's
that-
equations, so I'm like,
Well,
you
it
know?
depends on which part of the 1800s, but
Yeah.
Ben Franklin did stuff with lightning and charge, and he actually was one of the early people to do it. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't just like a meme.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin was such a cool dude.
He was. Yeah, he also named his
would you like
golf
to-
string.
Would you guys like to explain how lightning works? Just for in case there's anybody in the chat that I don't know.
Yeah.
wants
Whole
more
bunch of
science here.
charge, whole bunch of opposite charge, dielectric breakdown. Now you, Grayson.
Yeah, I was gonna say like within most like thunderclouds, you have like a natural separation of charge just from like the movement of different
Friction.
like ice crystals and
Yeah,
atoms of like bits of charge around.
just like this.
Yeah, exactly. You just
Yeah, just
develop
like,
a separation of
yeah.
charge, which like then rectifies itself with a lightning bolt. It's like it's pretty well understood actually.
The exact microscopic physics of exactly how a spark forms and then jumps, like the threshold behavior, that can be subtle and interesting and cool, but like that doesn't mean that we don't know what's going on. Is a bunch of electricity is suddenly going boom. That's what's going on.
New technology, we can
Right.
now observe lightning in slow motion.
Like,
We can
that's
I mean,
actually
that is
really
pretty.
cool. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
really cool what was happening here because, sorry, I'm trying to go back so that we can step through it sort of slowly. So, what's going on right now is that you've got these little tendrils, right? And they're sort of moving about, and everything that's glowing, electricity is either flowing through it right now, and it probably is, or was micro and milliseconds ago, and it's still hot because of that. But this is still sort of like probing out, and it's like the electricity is still kind of like figuring out where to go, and it hasn't. All of this charge that is in the cloud has sort of tried to redistribute along these little filaments, but it hasn't hit the ground yet. So it's not able to close that circuit and really go nuts until now. And
Daryl has. Did you want to address this?
yeah, there are still issues with the exact mechanism of a lot of things. The exact microscopic physics of how a dielectric breakdown occurs is an active area of research. We know certain things. We know that very smooth surfaces are going to be a lot more immune to that. It's why on, for example, a Van de Graaff generator, you have a very smooth, ideally polished sort of spherical surface, because if you have a little point, all of the electrons sort of go to that spot, and then they all hate each other and they jump off into oblivion. The exact details of how it goes, like you look at anything
So
closely
science
enough
doesn't
and-
know
and
anything.
it's- Yeah.
So science
So
doesn't know
sci-
anything about lightning. Confirmed.
So to be fair, facts are a myth and truth is a lie. Yeah.
My conclusion was that lightning looks cool in slow mo.
Well, yeah.
These are facts.
But it does tell you something. Like here you've got these branches, and then it makes contact with the ground, and now all of the electricity in the ground, which is of the opposite charge, can suddenly redistribute up. And that all happens all at once because the path has already been carved.
And like,
then-
just for clarification, what they said
that's
here
awesome.
was that the cause of lightning is still not known. It's like that's what,
and that's nonsense.
yeah,
They did
exactly.
say that.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we can fly directly into thunderstorms,
not recommended.
and we can observe electrical events from space, seeing lightning as it has never been seen before.
The phenomena they're about to get into are still also they're less well understood, and some of them are actually new. Like within the last decade, like we've sort of figured out that these things are happening, but what they're going to say is wrong.
Yeah,
So.
you'll notice a theme throughout the night of them doing that.
Yeah.
For years, we ignored direct human testimony about exotic forms of lightning. When airline pilots reported electrical discharges launched into space above the thunderclouds, scientists dismissed these reports.
Wait,
But now we know that blue jets and red sprites
So I don't know what they mean by that.
I mean,
because
we have observations of red sprites and everything now. So
but it's totally plausible. It is totally plausible, in my opinion, that airline pilots did see these things with their eyes, and were like, "Hey, scientists, you should know about that." And they're like, "That's cool, but we need some data."
Yeah.
Like, we need some actual. I don't think that they were like, "Oh, you're just lying. You don't know what you saw." Like, that seems unlikely to me.
A similar thing happened with like St. Elmo's fire, right?
Exactly.
With ships and everything. It's like, until you have a way of actually like measuring such a thing, rather than just hearing about it secondhand from a bunch of sailors, like there's a difference in the rigor of those observations.
Yeah, and there are still phenomena that fall within this category. Ball lightning. Is like a thing which is a lot more rare than St. Elmo's fire or red sprites, but it might be a thing. We've just never caught it on video.
Ball lightning.
It also, I don't know what the hell it's supposed to be. It's one of these things that like is in that sort of.
That actually fascinates me, and I don't think they do know what it is because it's hard to replicate. But it
Somebody in the chat was saying that they had seen ball lightning earlier, so maybe we should consult them.
But I also know it's like common, like it comes in the same areas, like it's not just.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
So they're thinking that it may be, I don't know, related to buildings or something. I don't get me started lying, but.
Yeah,
I guess it must mean that there's no such thing as gravity and everything is electric.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I mean, clearly, we don't know anything about ball lightning. Therefore, cavemen.
Okay, let's step up the crazy level on this.
Are real. Only recently did we begin to appreciate the electrical circuitry of our planet.
How recently is recently?
By firing into space,
yeah?
blue jets, red sprites, and their exotic companions reveal a direct electrical connection to a much larger environment through which Earth itself moves.
Elves.
Yeah, there's a
that a scientific term?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Cool.
A little bit. There is a thing that is called elves. It's one of these sort of newer, much less well understood phenomena. There is another phenomena, green that's like a green flash that occurs in this area. I think. Pico's Hank is a storm chaser that has captured some footage of this. And now scientists are using like he was the first person to get good images of it that I know of. And so this is because that happened several years after this video came out. This video came out in 2010. So we're still making progress on some of this stuff. There's a lot of electricity stuff going on in the atmosphere. We have an entire layer of the atmosphere called the ionosphere.
Yeah, I would just like to say, so far, other than them saying that we don't know the cause of lightning, so far they're just describing actual lesser understood electrical phenomenon that I don't think anyone in mainstream science is saying is cannot fit within our model of physics or anything. It's all just stuff we will learn more about in the coming decades. It's not anything that even remotely substantiates the electric universe or anything that they're going to bring up. I mean,
electric atmosphere and electric universe aren't the same thing. I mean, if they just said electric atmosphere, I'd be halvesies.
Yeah. I mean, auroras are a thing. Everyone agrees.
So, am I correct in saying that science doesn't understand an electric universe?
It's just that the observations, the electric universe might be able to explain some things, but it doesn't explain things as well as the current standard cosmology. There's no way that electric universe can explain all the observations. The cosmic microwave background, it just has just as silent.
For starters.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Because plasma cosmology was an actual thing there for a while, a little bit.
Alfvén, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Alfvén, and he won the Nobel Prize, not for plasma cosmology, but for studying plasma physics and So it had its own heyday there, and then was just like completely dropped by like the 90s, pretty much. So it's like we just eventually just the buildup of observations that were completely contrary to the electric universe has pretty much moved it to the dustbin of science, but not the dustbin of YouTube science.
Yeah, yeah.
To regions. Our planet responds to surrounding space as a charged body would respond to regions of different charge.
What?
I was
What?
going to ask
Where?
if anybody understood that.
I believe
I know I'm
what
an
they're
idiot, but
I believe what they're hinting at there is gravity. I think that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, I think they're trying to appeal to the fact that gravity and the Coulomb force are both inverse square.
Yeah. I think because like they believe that like I think they do believe gravity exists, but they believe it's like a minor effect, and that the major thing shaping the structure of everything is not gravity, but like electromagnetism. I think that's the belief. So I think that that's what they're hinting at here. But
so
it's
is it
just
kind of like
different.
I don't feel gravity, so it's a minor effect. I feel the fuck out of electricity, so that must take precedent. I don't. I don't know.
Yeah,
We're all just guessing because
Okay,
they're
sure,
so
sure.
vague.
Auroral displays, for example, are now known to connect directly to the electrical domain of the sun.
True.
yeah, okay. And wolves, apparently.
Most
Yeah, what was
scientists dismissed this connection until it was proven by space-age findings.
Did they?
Most scientists
Whoa,
dismissed
stop.
this connection.
I don't.
Look, our stream just got shut down. You have got to keep this in 10 seconds or less.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
I know.
that
It's just like you get into it, and it's just like, oh my god, this is so much crazy.
It's
And
just such
time-
gripping cinema.
He,
I don't know.
I
I don't
am
know much
loving the
about what
visuals.
the scientific milieu was like when Van Allen discovered the radiation belts, because I think that that's what they're talking about here. That was like in the 50s, so I don't know what it was like before then, if scientists were dismissive or not. But like, come on, we've known about like we've known about solar winds and Van Allen radiation belts for over half a century at this point. So
yeah. Also, scientists get stuff wrong sometimes, but they don't tend to get them like as wrong as these people like accuse them of.
Connection until it was proven by space-age findings. Meteorologists and atmospheric physicists were astonished to discover a flow of charged particles moving along magnetic field lines from the sun and entering Earth's upper atmosphere.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that was astonishing, because
Physicists were astonished.
no, it's that's insane. It's really not hard to realize that if you have a charged particle going into a magnetic field that is going that like a dipole, like one of the poles of a dipole, you know what happens? They go in, they spiral around a whole bunch because of Lorentz forces, and then they go out. The gradient, the magnetic field gradient, is literally called a magnetic mirror. So the things come in and they sort of slow down and hang out and go around in circles, which means they release a bunch of radiation also, because that's what happens when you have a charge accelerating in a circle. I don't believe that this was like, oh my god, that's amazing.
yeah,
We had
astonishing
no
is kind of
idea.
subjective.
This came out of left field.
Yeah.
Atmosphere to light the auroras. The Earth-Sun connection means that space is not electrically neutral, as astronomers, cosmologists, and planetary scientists had so long supposed. But there is more to discover.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like on large scales, space would be like electrically neutral because the charges would cancel. But like on like small local scales, you can have electric potentials in space. I don't think I don't think that that's a very controversial statement. I don't think it's like, oh wow, the neutrality of space has been debunked.
yeah, no, if you go out into like a random like field out in the middle of nowhere, like there is an electric field gradient vertically, and like that's not that surprising, because you know what creates like a transport of charge? Matter moving against matter, and we have this thing called an atmosphere.
Yeah, but I think he's talking about like how space in general.
Yeah, that too. But I was sort of giving lip service to the flat Earth argument of 100 volts per meter, because it's a number they like to quote, and they're not wrong. It's just not that weird. What?
Electrical events today cannot compare to events in more ancient times.
What?
Every early culture looked back in terror to the flash of a heaven-shaking thunderbolt.
Oh, we're going off the deep rails now.
What?
Now we're really
Is it
get
science?
locked and loaded.
I mean, it's History Channel science.
We're going
The
in the
best
rabbit
type
hole
of
there.
science.
Okay. Yeah.
This great weapon of the gods never looks like the lightning we know. Never.
I don't know why you think it's lightning then.
It's like a symbol of
Looks like
lightning.
Thor's
I think
trident.
is- I think it's commonly understood
Poseidon.
to be like a symbol for lightning. But again, like we do see
Sorry, thank
lightning
you.
branching out and everything. Like
Yeah, also that. Yeah.
it's not like
this-
it looks like a trident, but again, this is like highly artistically stylized.
I mean, it probably could. Like we could go back to this one, and I bet we could find like 5 tridents here. Like
The answer is always
Yeah.
aliens.
there's a fork. I mean,
Yeah.
not all at once, because generally you're not going to have that many there are reasons for that, but
But I would like also like just the common symbol in modern culture that we use for lightning also doesn't look like lightning. Like it's like the little zigzag thing. Like if somebody like in the future were to look at our symbol,
Yeah.
like the little Harry Potter thing on their
Yeah.
forehead, and be like, isn't it strange how this ancient depiction of lightning doesn't actually look like lightning? What could it mean? Could it mean
Yep.
that lightning in the year 2023 was different? Like that's basically what they're doing.
you're right. You're
Well, I
absolutely
mean-
right.
It's that, but I mean, we already knew the ancients didn't understand a lot of things and attributed gods to them. You know, they didn't understand lightning or volcanoes or droughts. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
and
know
light-
that it is applicable to what we're experiencing in science today.
Yeah, lightning also is one of the things that almost without exception, probably basically without exception, every adult human has seen, heard, and like experienced on multiple occasions in their life. And if you don't know anything about electricity, it's a pretty mysterious thing. Like it's dramatic, it's hardcore, it's totally the sort of thing that I would attribute to a god if I didn't have the context of everything else. Cuz I'm not hardcore like Percy Shelley, I think it was. I can't remember.
Well, I mean, I'm not knocking the ancient cultures
no,
for
no,
not
I know.
understanding lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm knocking applying
Modern people.
our prior ignorance to the knowledge today. It's like, well, because they didn't know, therefore we can never know. Like, or is
Yeah.
that what he's saying? I mean, that
Well,
sounds
no,
like
what
he's
they're
saying.
saying is that because they depicted, like the ancients depicted lightning differently, they're saying lightning
Uh-huh.
really was different in the past.
Oh, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake!
Then the mythic thunderbolt is depicted acting in one direction only. But even more often, the images accent a bipolar form, an unexplained curiosity.
What is this?
But today, this mystifying weapon, the
It looks like a
thunderbolt of the
screw.
gods,
It
So
looks
they're
like a
saying that
plasma
they
sex
have
toy.
they've gotten
Ugh.
plasma discharges in a lab to kinda, sorta, if you squint your eyes at it, look sort of like these ancient depictions of like a Vajra in Hinduism, or like the a thunderbolt or something in Mesopotamian depiction.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't even look very much like it.
Also, it's really blurry, and it's a blurry image of a blurry thing. It's not a crisp image of a blurry thing. Trust me, I work a lot with like cold atom clouds that are they're sort of blurry. You know, it's a diffuse thing that has tendrils and weird stuff, but you can tell when an image is in focus and when an image is not in focus, and they just didn't focus their camera.
Is anybody else wondering what dildos are like in Australia?
Nope.
I'm wondering what dildos are like in a plasma universe. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
We will never
Is
know.
recognized in laboratory experiments
Well, certainly not with that attitude.
with high energy electrical discharge.
Can you pause it? Because they literally just said that the Thunderbolts of the gods is recognized in laboratory experiments. That was the full sentence that they just said. Like, I'm pretty
Was
sure.
it? Hold on.
But today, this mystifying weapon, the Thunderbolt of the gods, is recognized in laboratory experiments with high energy electrical discharge.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
no.
Oh my god.
Has the Thunderbolt of the gods showed up in any of your experiments yet, Tabby?
I mean, like I said before, my grandfather was basically Thor.
Yeah, he wielded the Thunderbolt of the gods.
He was the god.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
The power, the technology, the knowledge, the abilities that we are able to do today with our tools and our technology, to somebody more than 150 years ago, would be godlike.
Yeah, sure.
We
But
can fly.
They're alive today. I'm just saying.
Are they? Their bodies are alive. I'm pretty sure they're brain dead.
Fair.
And its body
I gotta say, hold on. I don't know what's happening here, but I bet it's really interesting.
I've got no idea, but they're just superimposing it on top
and
of
its
a nebula.
bipolar form is
Yeah, and for the record, what's happening there also extremely interesting. Also, this has to be a superposition of at least two different like spectrums, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
It could potentially all be visible with just the Hubble. That's possible, I guess.
is seen in
What are they
space as
saying this is?
typified by the
It's
dynamic
a butterfly nebula. But again, they somehow
No, I mean, I know what it is. What are they saying it is? Oh, he is saying it's a nebula.
They're saying it's a nebula. It is a nebula,
Okay.
but like they're saying that like they started with Thunderbolt depictions in ancient cultures,
Right.
and then went to
And then
plasma.
we're going to a nebula. So I'm like,
Yeah,
what
then
does
they
he
went to
think this is?
plasma in a lab, and now they're saying that it's also a nebula in the sky.
I'm sorry. I watched a lot of. We watched a lot of Gina, so I'm just like primed to wonder,
know
like,
Gina?
what does this look like to her?
This is
But,
a planet that's like 3 miles above us.
Right. It's the
That's what she
atmosphere.
would say.
It's evidence of the black hole. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Grayson. This is we're talking about things that happened like 6 months ago.
Oh, all
But
hail Cthulhu.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying this is like how my mind is primed already when we go into these videos. All right, so everybody is on the same page. This is a nebula. It has something to do with ancients and lightning.
Obviously.
And electricity. And here's the thing. It would not be stunning to me if you discovered something which was loosely analogous to like a thunderstorm but without rain and stuff. In a nebular thing. I could imagine that. It's a bunch of gases moving around. I can imagine how you would get massive charge asymmetries that would resolve with something like lightning and stuff like that. I don't think we've really observed that in like a way that you could be like, hey, there was a giant lightning bolt the size of the solar system over there. But like crazier things I can imagine.
Well, like this is picking up on what we're going to be seeing over and over again from like all of these Thunderbolt videos is like they have this dichotomy where mainstream science says that electricity and magnetism has absolutely nothing to do with space, is
That's
completely
insane.
negligible, and has no contribution to any behavioral dynamics. And then they say that, but recently we've seen that there are magnetic fields in space, and that means that the universe is electric and not gravitational. It's like those are their two extremes, and they cannot comprehend in their minds that maybe both gravity and electromagnetism exist. Like,
Yeah. Like, you can't explain the phenomenon, for example, of, like, the termination shock without knowing a lot about the electromagnetic force. Right? Because it has to do with sort of how there's an interface between the different regimes and how charged particles sort of are able to kind of go and go and go until they sort of stop and things get a little bit more jumbled. Kind of like in the same way, it's a little bit analogous to when you have a faucet on a flat surface, how you have this ring where it's laminar and it goes out, and then you suddenly have this little bump where it all piles up. That's kind of like what the solar wind being spewed out from the sun is like when it hits the termination shock, which Voyager passed through in the last decade or two. Which is badass. That's so badass.
yeah, it's almost like physicists account for both gravity and electromagnetism. It's almost as if they are able to account for both of them in physics. Shocker.
Nerds.
Structure of nebulas. The result is that the picture of planetary history has changed. The divine weapon, both celebrated and feared throughout the ancient world, now connects ancient mythology and symbolism to the most far-reaching discoveries in space. And one conclusion rises above all others. Just a few thousand years ago, cosmic events transformed our sky, forever altering human consciousness and cultural
All right, we went
history.
too long without stopping. We got to find a stopping point here.
Yeah, so he's saying that one conclusion rises above all other conclusions. You know, all of that foolishness we were just talking about, how both electromagnetism and gravity exist and can be accounted for in physics.
Sadly.
Yeah, throw that out the window, okay? The only explanation that rises above all others is that ancient primordial electricity in the sky that the ancients were putting on their coins apparently has changed human consciousness somehow, inexplicably. So that's what I'm getting from what just occurred on in front of my eyes, right? Are you guys having a similar experience?
I mean, I'm wearing polarized glasses so that I can't actually see my LCD screen. It's a form of self-protection.
Oh my god. I think my brain broke a little bit ago.
Okay, listen to what they say. One conclusion rises above all others. So this is the one conclusion that, you know, all that other stuff about like physics or whatever. No. This conclusion rises above everything else.
Just a few thousand years ago, cosmic events transformed our sky, forever altering human consciousness and cultural history.
Well, that's a remarkably undersupported position, I will say.
And like he keeps mentioning human consciousness, but like I'm not even getting where that's coming into it. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to explain it either.
Because it's obvious.
Yeah, I think they maybe have another video on like the plasma thunder of consciousness or something somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of skip this part. This is where they like you could probably just go to where he starts talking. Yeah. This is our lovely narrator.
Hello, I'm David Talbot, and this is the second episode in the series, Symbols of an Alien Sky. Is it possible to reconstruct the cosmic events of ancient times? It is possible if we allow the witnesses themselves.
It's actually one of the things in ancient times that is most easy to reconstruct.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I mean,
Like
God.
you
I
can
mean, if you
retroactively.
actually read what's there.
Also, like, it
to speak.
really makes me uncomfortable, like, making eye contact with this guy. Well, like, I don't know what it is, like, if it's just a me thing, but this guy's eye contact with the camera makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel harassed. HR,
You are HR.
I don't know. I
In their own-
need help. He's I don't know, extra
Yeah,
weird.
Maya, who do you go to when you have an HR problem?
I don't. I
Bottle it in.
suck it up. Alas.
language of myths and symbols. That's how we bring to light the points of agreement between the different cultures. We expose the substructure of human memories around the world. In
What?
episode 1,
The substructure of human memories around the world. That sounds Jordan Petersonian.
And it unites all cultures. Yeah.
Also, very Jungian, very...
Yes. No, he literally is about to
Petersonian.
bring up archetypes. Yes, it is Jungian.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, I'm not... You guys probably know a lot more about that than I do. I think that there's probably a lot of there with the whole archetype idea, but,
it's
not
happy.
to this extent.
Oh, it's heavy.
I mean, there
Let's
could
not.
be.
we considered several.
No, I was just saying there could be if you're sane. But
Yeah, no,
I don't feel like this is the direction he's going.
No,
Oh,
no,
you're
I
about to
also
see that it is the direction. But the archetypes
Sanity? Sanity is the direction he's going.
the archetypes that he's specifically bringing out are like the sun god.
Yeah, that's...
like,
Okay.
yeah, that's not...
We may as well do this.
Of these mythic archetypes.
Mythic archetypes. Well, that's even
A
science.
primeval sun
I mean...
yeah, primeval sun god. The first mythic archetype that we're all well familiar with, that it really does exist.
I'm convinced.
Well, didn't you see how earlier they were making in a laboratory plasma discharges that look sorta kinda a little bit like stuff that was in ancient pictures? So that proves that the primeval sun god unites all cultures in the deep subconscious past of the human memory.
I'm convinced.
I don't know. It's a tough sell.
Well, he's about to substantiate it with irrefutable evidence, Maya.
Oh, I love that. I never see it though.
god whom the first astronomers mysteriously identified as the planet Saturn.
What? Wait, the primeval sun god is now the planet Saturn?
Yeah, that doesn't even make any sense.
They have a whole
Okay.
complex about the planet Saturn as well. I didn't include any of their videos about Saturn, but they literally, I think they say that the sun originated in Jupiter or Saturn or something and shot out of it. I don't know. They have a whole thing about Saturn and Jupiter. It's really weird.
Why is Saturn the sun god when there's a goddamn sun?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It goes really deep in their lore. Like I said, they have videos about so many different topics that it was like impossible to choose. This is just like the introductory thesis to their Cosmic Thunderbolt thing.
It's like the Nigerian prince scam. It's all about weeding out people who aren't gonna, like, be suckers, so that then they can just, like, I don't know, turn them into the weirdest people on the internet. Well,
Yeah,
okay, I
they have
shouldn't
a
say
scary-
that. You should never say that. It can always get weirder.
And they have a scary high amount of subscribers also.
Yeah, although, to be fair, 219, not as many as some of the channels we've covered. I think our record so far is like
219,000. Holy
yeah,
shit, though.
yeah.
I mean,
and
he's got-
actually a pretty healthy view count to subscriber sort of
Oh,
ratio
shit,
there.
yeah.
Right? Like, that's pretty
But I
good.
mean, also, he's higher than Gina, and he's higher than Wheeler.
And Roger. Roger's at 180 something thousand.
This is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are really compelled by these ideas that maybe the sun was Saturn in the past.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the sun be Jupiter in the past? Like that? is also a thing.
Because look,
But
he's literally quoting from Babylonian text.
oh,
Shamash
right.
is the planet Saturn. I'm sure that's a direct quote.
God damn.
A mother goddess, said to be the planet Venus. A cosmic warrior, named as the planet Mars. A fiery serpent or dragon attacking the world. And a cosmic mountain.
Who is the fiery serpent or dragon
I was
attacking
just
the
supposed
world?
to ask that. I was like, did I miss something?
I think-
Wait a minute.
I think that's referring to like Ragnarok in like the Norse
Um,
mythology, or maybe
but-
the Bible at the end of Revelation in the Bible.
Well, I
I have
mean,
no idea.
Which
Dragon-
Sky Daddy?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, I don't know. I was wondering if he was talking about Tiamat or
It
Leviathan.
was also super weird that they described Aphrodite as a mother goddess. But like, I guess she does have kids, but like, you
Isn't
don't really.
Gaia in that same pantheon, or am I
Yeah.
incorrect?
Like, it's super
Okay.
strange how they've constructed all this.
Yeah, I also want to know who's the asteroid belt? Is that the Serp? Like,
They actually don't mention any of this ever again.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned.
Yeah.
Rising to the center of heaven.
Now we're in
For
Paris.
millennia, we've tried to understand the archetypes based on the world as we know it.
I'm not in Paris. I'm in California. What's wrong with you? Sorry.
Despite our best efforts, every archetype remains an enigma today.
Does it? Does it though? I mean, where do they get off in making such a statement? So despite our best efforts, every archetype remains a mystery today? Like, does it? Do we not like understand where these things I mean, in anthropology, cultural anthropology, archaeology, I mean, we could trace back a lot of these archetypes. Like, is it an enigma? I don't think it is.
I don't even know which part of it is supposed to be enigmatic.
Yeah, he just started
like
naming them.
what fact of reality is the enigmatic one here? Is it
Okay,
where
he's
these
about to
things
show
came
you.
from? Because it's the sky. I can show you. It's the sky. They came from the sky because you see stuff in the sky. It's not hard.
Well, okay, yeah, exactly the logic that's about to be employed here.
I-
Well, I'm not joking.
Around the world, ancient cultures invoked a great wheel of heaven.
Wheel.
They carved the wheel on stone, repeated endless stories about it, and celebrated it in magical rites. The power of this archetype has never been explained.
It's a wheel. What do you mean? Like, the
Also-
power of this archetype has never been explained. It's like
there's so many things about that archetype that are so obvious in like so many different overlapping and non-overlapping ways. Like, you could go just into the metaphor and the poetry of what that means, and all of that would be fine. Or you could go into the metaphor as a literal representation of how the cosmos seems like a rigid object that rotates around us, which is an extremely important observation of like the world around us, because it does, you know, it seems like a rigid thing that's rotating around us
I just want to
some
make the
extent.
point that people have known about circles for a really long time. Like, I don't need any more explanation than that. I mean, like, it's literally just drawing circles.
Yeah, but I was giving them so much more credit.
I don't think you need to give them any credit. It's literally like, how do we know the power of this object? Like, my dude, it's a circle. People knew about those. Like, the sun is a circle. You can look up and you can see a circle. Like, the moon is a circle. We've known about circles. Like,
But if we see the ancient world through the eyes of our early ancestors, we discover that the archetypes are descriptions of formations they saw in the sky. And
okay, yeah, there we go. He's saying that literally all these archetypes were actually like descriptions of real things that people were seeing when they looked up at the sky. So they were really looking up, and they were seeing wheels, and I guess they were seeing the mother goddess, and the god of war, and a giant serpent dragon.
What I see here is I see like what I'm pretty sure is a screenshot from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Like it's got everything about it looks like that.
Honestly, Monty Python had better graphics.
Yeah.
Stories about what happened to these forms. The archetypes seem enigmatic only because those events are not occurring now. Our purpose here is to reconstruct the events that inspired the archetypes. When the great civilizations first appeared, the world was a much different place. How are we to understand these?
So yeah, he's saying that in the like these archetypes no longer occur now for no explainable reason or mechanism, but they used to occur in the past from no explainable reason or mechanism, and they were really freaking crazy and wild looking. That's the whole thesis that he's getting at.
Yeah, clearly, because they drew all these wonderful pictures of things that don't make sense. And they couldn't just be, artwork. It's got to be real.
How could you make
because
artwork
we
of
just
something
started using our imaginations with modern science.
Have
or
you ever
something.
seen artwork of a thing that isn't real though?
Never.
I don't think such artwork could possibly exist. Nobody
No.
can draw something that isn't real.
Man, I saw some really messed up AI generated content, let's say, recently, so I really hope you're wrong. Because, damn.
All the AI art I've seen lately has been of Kissinger like being pushed into the gates of hell. It's been awesome.
I mean, I don't know. I saw one where it looked like you had like a really high tech trench coat that you were using to cover your reptilian form.
Yeah, I know. Bree has been doing a lot of AI art of my boobs. What the fuck? But I do appreciate how perky AI thinks my boobs actually are. So, there's that.
Well, it couldn't be drawn anything.
Did you see his face? He's like, are we on this side of YouTube, really?
My face or Grayson's face?
I'd love to see Bree's face right now.
Oh, yeah, right.
Human consciousness. The terrestrial sky today can't serve.
Wait, where does human consciousness come? I don't want to go back. I don't want to get.
I want to hear about consciousness, Debbie.
No, it'll do it. Fine.
Oh God.
How are we to understand the celestial events acting on human consciousness?
What?
The terrestrial sky.
I still don't know anything about why he keeps bringing up consciousness. How do these affect human consciousness?
I mean, the only thing I can think is like, oh God, like astrology charts, and they think that the planets actually affect the way we act, but he doesn't seem to be getting into that. So I'm stymied.
I mean, do you want me to steel man it?
No, I don't. He's saying
no. I want to hear. No, I want to hear this like outlandish. What do you call it? Claim or I don't know. Pull something out of your ass. Sure.
Okay. So the most amazing thing, the time that I have been struck in visual awe by what I was beholding before me, was an astronomical event that I was witnessing. It spoke to me at a level that was like amazing.
I was wrong. I was so wrong. Just hit the goddamn play button.
Today can't serve as a guide.
I was doing a better job than you thought.
Because the positions of planets, Earth included, have changed. But if we work only with the archetypes, consistent global testimony, a reliable picture does emerge.
So Chris Cariano did a way better job of explaining what he's talking about than you. I'm just saying, doctor.
Well, you didn't let me finish. You interrupted me because you were
still not letting you finish.
Of the amazing.
We're talking about planets.
Who controls the play button here, Maya?
Look, you know what? I don't need
Weasel Revolt.
I have already. I have a goddamn play button over here too. Holy shit!
Look, he's saying that
evil little man.
He's saying a reliable picture of cosmology emerges when you study these ancient archetypes, which are globally testified apparently consistently, according to this guy, among all global cultures, then they're all describing the same archetypes which correspond to plasma lights in the sky that affect human consciousness. It's so clear and obvious. How are you guys not getting this?
Oh, I'm getting it.
Oh.
It's just I have to deal with my co-host here, who's
I don't know what the fuck you just said. Do you?
I don't know what the fuck I just said.
All right, as long as we're on the same page. I'm pretty sure they don't know what the fuck they're saying either.
I don't even know what language we're speaking.
Piece of it, the picture is preposterous,
French.
unbelievable. But unbelievable only until the definitive evidence lies before us.
Actually, a fair point.
The definitive evidence is this CGI animation of the planets in alignment, I guess.
Yeah, but they're not in alignment. Look at this. Okay, these two planets are not aligned, and it's actually bugging me a lot.
Well, they're aligning. You gotta let them move a little bit.
This was a few thousand years ago, okay? The CGI technology was not quite there yet.
Ago, a gathering of
I can't stand it, though.
planets filled the heavens close to Earth.
Oh, God.
What? Does he think that we ever saw something like this?
Yes.
Yes.
That's absolutely
That's exactly what
he was saying.
happened. Yeah, it happened on Earth
What
thousands
I
of
don't
years
get,
ago.
though, is like they just showed it for a bunch of planets aligning, and now all of a sudden, like one of the planets is like it looks like it's turning into a star.
I guess, but then what is the thing behind it? And the answer is a gravitationally lensed Jupiter. Right?
It
It's
does
the
kind
only
of be looking like a
explanation.
boob, though.
Wait, did anybody know that? Did anybody know that Nettie loves titties?
Nanny loves titties.
All right, let's see this thing.
He's like, I don't
In
understand.
their electrical
Like how we
interactions, they
keep getting on
produced immense
titties.
discharge configurations in the sky.
Oh, they're immense discharge configurations in the sky. Okay, that explains it.
The discharge on. I'm gonna
He's
stop
literally
talking.
saying that our ancient ancestors were literally seeing this in the sky, and he said that there was direct, undeniable evidence of it, and this is him showing that, I guess. You guys not
Sure.
seeing it?
Yeah, no. Well, I'm trying to. I couldn't figure out a way to make that joke safe for work, so I guess I'm gonna have to move on.
Please do.
Wait, safe for
Yeah.
work? When did that start? Do we get monetized without my unbeknownst to me?
Well, I feel like there's a limit as to how many times somebody can bring up Goatsy on a single show
Okay.
in a month.
Okay.
I
When these
tried to
events
give us an
occurred, our
out.
ancestors did not know what a planet is. They simply saw gods in the sky.
Our
Man, this
ancestors
is just-
didn't know what planets are.
This is getting bolder and bolder.
Yeah, I don't think that whoever made this video knows what planets are.
Or the sky. I'm not sure they know what the sky is.
I like how it's at Stonehenge too.
Yeah.
Because of
CGI
course it would be.
Stonehenge.
Of course, the CGI animators would pick Stonehenge for this.
And when the gods went to war, their most feared weapon was the cosmic Thunderbolt. We see this Thunderbolt in the hands of innumerable warrior gods and world-saving heroes. Early
I,
It's about to get crazy.
astronomical traditions held that the cosmic Thunderbolt was a stream of fire between
What is
planets.
What is that?
It's Mars. When did this?
No, Mars has never looked like this. I promise you. Like I don't do like I'm not an astrologer or astronomer. Sorry, either of those actually. I'm not a what do you call it? Astrophysicist or anything that has to do with any of this. I can say with 100% accuracy that Mars has never looked like this.
And is this showing Mars in between Venus and Earth?
Earth and Venus, yeah.
and
And
it's
that actually
emitting-
happened once.
And it's like emitting some kind of plasmic discharge that's launching at both Venus and Mars, which is what they're saying is when the gods go to war.
I don't know. Maybe there's three
What
pyramids.
the hell is happening here?
Oh, well, clearly 3 pyramids have formed on Mars, and they are splooging energy into the sky, as
Okay,
they do.
we gotta unmute. What?
Evidence for intense electrical activity in the ancient sky leads us direct.
What? You're
Mars
not
grew
gonna
a
address
unicorn
the
horn.
fact that you've got a giant unicorn Mars just like hanging out with a huge cotton candy like horn on its head? What is happening right now?
There's evidence of intense electrical activity on Mars. Taffy, you didn't know that
Well-
what that means is that it grew a giant unicorn horn into space that launched at Earth in a cosmic war between the planets? That was reflected in ancient myth?
That would be visible by the naked eye. This would be visible, I think, by the naked eye if you had good vision. Certainly with a good pair of binoculars.
You're
Mars
helping
is-
their case. Because that's exactly what our ancestors saw. It's the
But
cosmic,
they didn't.
it's the cosmic
They
thunderbolt.
didn't. That's not true.
Didn't you see all
to
the
new
ancient
discoveries in
artwork?
space. And from there to a surprising scientific confirmation of the reconstruction offered here.
Confirmed.
What is this? What is this reconstructing?
Oh my goodness.
Ball lightning. This is ball lightning. I knew it. I knew it would all come around.
That's it. That's it. They confirmed it.
Okay. Oh my god.
Okay,
Well, that
so
was fun.
yeah, there is a part 2 to this, but I don't think we really need any more
we don't-
of that.
I also don't think we. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think my neurons are firing anymore after that.
So
It's just too much big brain energy. My puny little woman brain can't keep up.
there's a pretty funny one on the magnetic universe, but honestly, I think
You want to go to the black hole one?
I want to go to the black hole one.
Are we doing magnets? The chat would love to see Dr. T's face if we do
But
magnets.
it's just we.
But we
touched on
could
a lot of the
also
things.
do black holes are non-existent. Chat. Are we doing magnets or black holes?
It's not magnets though. It's literally
All
just
right.
the
Magnetic
existence
universe.
of magnetic fields in the universe. That's what the video is about, and they think that somehow negates modern cosmology. It is wild, but like the other one is so okay. This channel has what they call a chief science consultant, who is the guy.
Thornhill?
Yes, Thornhill.
Yeah.
And he goes through he's not a physicist, by the way. And he goes through and he debunks
He
general
used to
relativity.
have some. Yeah, he used to have some legit credentials somewhere. I think he worked like somewhere once, but no, he's actually he's full of it.
And yeah, he will debunk general relativity and black holes, and he will reveal what black holes really are in this video.
All right, I think the chat is calling. I'm seeing more black holes than magnets. So
Yeah, I mean,
You're
our
in
chat is
luck.
really they're really inappropriate about
That's
what they
new.
show us.
that is really new. The chat loves fucking with him. So maybe while we're playing the black hole video, you guys can think of some jokes about Dr. T not knowing what magnets are. And it's win-win.
Don't encourage
Yeah.
them, Maya.
I don't have to.
Thank you.
I do not have
Grayson
to.
Is on my side.
The chat is on mine though, and there's more of them.
And for the record, whenever I'm in chat and not in these videos, I'm absolutely asking Tappy about magnets constantly.
Yay.
So.
Hey, I'm
Cheers.
the ruler of the chat. I'm just saying. Like I call titty mobbing, and like
Welcome to Space News.
half these fuckers. So it was beautiful. I'm sorry, Grayson doesn't like titties, so we'll move on.
Whoa! This is a wild accusation, Maya, that I wholeheartedly reject. Okay, I don't need. Look, I do not need to lay out my titty loving credentials for you tonight. Okay, but be assured that they are plethora, okay?
All right. Put your dick back in his pants. Anyways, did we
From
mention
the
that this
electric
is not safe for
universe,
work?
brought
Yeah, we did, yeah, but but then I said the word. Never mind. I'll move on.
Yeah,
To
it's
you by the
space news from the
Thunderbolts
electric universe. The trusted source for all space news.
Wait, are we
Oh
talking
my
about black
God.
hose? Do I need to put my cape on?
We're totally talking about black hose. We're talking
Yes!
about black hose.
We are
We
talking
gotta-
about black holes. But wait, Maya, don't get excited because we're talking about why black holes don't exist.
How dare you, sir? Look, we're a proud tribe. All right.
I think Tabby's broken down.
I know, right? It's like,
Project at
first we
Thunderbolt.
started talking about titties, then we started talking about hoes. Like, this is the best stream ever.
Info.
About the recently imaged black hole.
Yeah, so this is like whenever they actually like took a picture of a black hole, and now they're gonna make a whole video saying "nuh-uh."
Yeah.
Wait, the one that came out, like, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah,
2019 or something.
It was pretty nuts. It was pretty
Okay.
awesome, cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I know. I saw. Well, it was impossible not to see it. Like, all of my science channels just.
yeah, because it was.
It was the only thing in my feed.
It was probably front page news on like non-science stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you guys,
or close to it.
you guys don't know that you were getting all that news from very biased sources, okay? And so you should have been getting your
You're
space
right.
news from the electric universe, where you could have learned that that's not actually a picture of a black hole, like literally every physicist in the world is saying.
No, you're right. I forgot. We only watch NASA show news, and I should have known.
I mean, I spent a lot of time being a NASA shill. It's a great deal.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
disprove relativity real quick.
Well, I think
12
it's fair
minutes.
Oh man.
to say that when it comes to conditions at the center of any galaxy, some of the most interesting data has to come from our own celestial neighborhood in the Milky Way. I remember last year we reported on the quote,
Okay, hold on. I want to guess what the shocking discovery is. Give me a hint.
Okay.
Grayson, give me a hint.
It's
that
not
makes sense,
the
yeah.
existence of a black hole.
I am shocked.
Is it that everything we know about science is wrong?
Yes.
All right, there we go.
shocking discovery that low mass stars were forming just 3 light years away from the hypothetical
I thought he was going to say from us, and I was like, nuh-uh.
supermassive black hole at Sagittarius A. And in fact, I have in front of me a quote from a phys.org report on that discovery.
I love phys.org, by the way.
Didn't they set this up like at the start of this center? Never mind. Okay, never mind. I don't even want to go in there. Just press play.
It states, at this distance,
It's a great website. I'm just saying that they really do. They're my number one source for like pop sci communication.
tidal forces driven by the supermassive black hole should be energetic enough to rip apart clouds of dust and gas before they can form stars. But since the black hole's non-existence is not, and has not been for a very long time, on the table as a theoretical option for astrophysicists,
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. We have some amazing time-lapse videos of stars completing entire orbits around Sagittarius A star.
Yep.
It is some of the most amazing time-lapse stuff that you'll see, because the orbit that it's making is like it's a big chunk, right? Like it's hundreds of astronomical units, I think. And it's just an entire star, all of them are just going in sort of Keplerian orbits, probably not totally because it's a giant supermassive black hole. But yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Peter's
but
here.
literally, you see the stars and objects like literally make a very quick turn around an object like that is not
Yeah,
lighting up.
visible. It's
Yeah.
not visible. You can't see it. It's black. There's nothing there, and it's just whipping stars around. Like,
So now I really wonder why that the non-existence of black holes is no longer on the table as a theoretical option. What could it be? Could it be the weight of observational evidence?
yeah, it's like the non-existence of Jupiter. I mean, it's not that much, but like it's basically that much.
This type of discovery, like countless others, is simply forgotten, or at least no emphasis is placed upon it. So what are your thoughts on some of the best evidences in the Milky Way which tell us that...
Evidences? Wait a minute. I know that word.
Well, forget everything you thought you know about that word, because we're throwing it out the window.
It's a plasmoid, not a black hole.
You're spoiling
Because a
things, Tappy.
I mean, I can read.
Plasmoid and not a evidences in the Milky Way which tell us that it is a plasmoid and not a black hole at the center of the
Plasmoid?
galaxy.
What's a plasmoid?
I have no idea. This is the footage I was talking about. This is amazing. Everybody should look at this.
How do you know
right here.
know what a plasmoid is? Do you physics,
Because
bro?
it's fake. Because it's not a real thing that I know of.
Okay,
I'm
it's
not a
very
plasma
simple.
physicist.
Okay, a plasmoid is a donut made of plasma.
No, that's No, that's the machine that makes.
It's, I know. I'm just saying, it's a donut made of plasma.
Okay, but I seriously, like, chat, if you have not seen this, the thing that he's about to show you
It's a
is
plasmoid
amazing.
and not a black hole
Look,
at
I
the
just need
center of
to
the
acknowledge
galaxy.
Crystal's statement here because she's truly spitting facts. And contrary to all the shit that we play every week, I do love facts.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Not a black hole at the center of the galaxy.
These are stars.
The stars that orbit that so-called black hole in Sagittarius A star do so very rapidly, which...
Those are stars that we're watching over the course of years. This is a time lapse taken over years. And this one right here just went whoop right around something.
Does he
We
think
can't
this is
see
like
it.
real? Does he think this is real time?
I have
Well,
no idea.
He's saying that they're all rotating around a plasmoid, which would be visible, by the way.
It would be
bright.
fantastically visible. Like,
Yeah.
that plasma is remarkably visible stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, not yeah.
If you're gonna
Why
have,
does he? Wait.
you're
Why
gonna
does he
have
think
plasma-
this? Why does he think this? Why can't? Why is it a plasmoid instead of a black hole? Like,
he's
what-
about to explain why it can't
Okay.
be gravity. All right. If you're using gravity in your
Oh.
equation,
Oh, you know what? That's always my downfall. I always factor gravity into everything I do.
you need to get rid of that.
Oh, let's go.
suggests if you're using gravity in your equation that the mass at the center of the focus of that orbit is of the value they give, millions of suns or maybe even billions. And that's only because they're using the wrong force. We're talking about electromagnetic.
You're using the wrong force.
Yeah, he
Well.
literally just said,
Well
if
then.
you use gravity, you get a black hole that's very heavy. And all the equations and math work out for our observations of star orbits. But that's wrong because I said it's wrong. And it really should be electromagnetic because that's what I say it is.
Okay.
So now do you
I get
understand
you.
the evidence?
I can steel man it, and actually this
Oh my
time it won't
God.
be
Oh, for
total
fuck's
nonsense. No, but I can. So
You've said that before.
how supermassive black holes get to be supermassive is an open question. There was actually a whole thing earlier this year where they published a
I
pretty
did see that.
cool sounding argument about it, but one that is gonna take some convincing because it's also a little just like weird.
Well, I don't think that that's anything remotely similar to what they're talking about, because they're saying
Well,
that
no.
instead of stars orbiting a black hole because of its gravity, they're really orbiting a plasmoid because of electromagnetism. So I don't think that you can steel man that. I think it's even beyond steel manable.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Forces. The other thing is that, as was pointed out, I think by Ed Dowdy, who's done valuable work on looking at so-called gravitational lensing.
So-called.
What? What? Does he think photons have charge?
I don't even
Well-
know if he believes in photons, to be honest.
Okay, that
He's
makes
saying
sense.
that there's no such thing as he said gravitational lensing. This guy pointed out that in fact gravitational lensing makes no sense somehow. Even though mathematically it works out and relativity is able to predict the magnitude of gravitational lensing very precisely.
It's an amazing thing. It's a fantastic tool in so many ways. It provides a lot of it's really handy. Gravitational lensing is really handy. It's even one of the ways that we know that I think that we know that rogue planets exist.
Well, you can have
because
sorry.
I mean, besides the fact that we've seen them, but okay, never mind.
I was just gonna say you can have lensing like without gravity. You can have lensing effects from optics, but the magnitude is only half of what it is observed to be, because when you use relativity to predict the magnitude of lensing, you get the actual observed magnitudes.
Yeah.
And pointing out that it doesn't make sense. He said that stars orbiting that black hole, particularly ones that may have an orbit that's tilted and passes either behind the black hole or very close to behind, should suffer gravitational lensing. I've seen no evidence of that in any of the telescopic
He visually sees no evidence of that.
What does that look like? That almost
Yeah.
looks like a gravitationally lensed object to me.
Yeah, like I could see it in the actual image they're showing on screen, saying it doesn't exist.
Like
Yeah.
This is, by the way, a reliable way of detecting gravitational lensing. Probably true over 90% of the time. If you see like a random just like crescent shaped thing in like a picture of super distant stuff, it's probably gravitationally lensed.
To answer Paleologos' questions, yes, electromagnetic waves can push things in a vacuum. That's what a solar sail is. And if gravity didn't exist, could it push stars apart? If gravity didn't exist, there wouldn't be stars.
That's a good point.
It's a good point.
Yes. Photons have momentum. Their momentum is given by Planck's constant divided by their wavelength. So they do that. That's one thing. And absorbing all of the photons would give you half as much like thrust or force as reflecting them would, because of conservation of momentum. There was another thing that was part of that thing that I wanted to say.
Let's see, where'd he go?
Oh, if it pushing stars apart. Yes, it's actually, so radiative force is a huge thing in the like death sequence of extremely massive stars. At a certain point, not just the like hydrostatic pressure of like a fluid pushing against other particles in the fluid, but the radiation pressure outward also of a star becomes the thing that's supporting it largely against gravity, because these massive stars, they do that. And the sort of balance between those two can evolve and change, and suddenly like one can... It runs out of stuff, and it runs out of the power, and then it goes... And a lot of stuff happens really, really fast.
Not just in stars, but in the early universe. Like, the interplay between radiation pressure and gravity is what creates the oscillatory behavior of, like, acoustic waves that literally like, helped create the cosmic microwave background we see today. And, like, demonstrates the Big Bang happened. So,
the power spectrum, not even that the Big Bang happened. That is the evidence that is in particular in support of like the Lambda CDM model.
Yeah.
Which, and I don't think people should think that the Lambda CDM model is as firmly established as like general relativity is. People should, it's not, for one thing, the one requires the other, so just logically speaking, it can't be as, whatever.
Well, he's about to disprove relativity, so.
I mean...
of the Sagittarius A, and they've been following them now, so I think they've managed to observe a complete orbit of at least one star, possibly more.
Yeah, I'm watching it happen on screen. I mean, yes, I'm aware that this has been the same clip. I'm really glad that they put it on here for this long, though.
The other thing was that there was
Man, that's cool.
No, yeah, I love the live things. I mean, it's really cool, but I don't think they're saying what he thinks they say.
No,
I do have to give like this channel some credit to where they actually do like reference a lot of legitimate science. It's just that all the conclusions that they're drawing from it are completely wrong.
Yeah,
we're used to that.
These are people who are like they're crackpots, but they're more adjacent to being non-crackpots than a lot of the other people we cover.
Yeah, I mean, there's Jordan from Spirit Science, and then there's
yeah,
Sky Scholar is on a different, is in his own, yeah.
But the Sky Scholar is much more comparable to this, though. I think.
Like,
yes.
Yeah. To their credit, like magnetic fields do exist in space. Like, yeah. Wow, great job, guys. It's just that, like, hey, gravity is still a thing, though. Like the two things both happen.
They can both coincide, yeah.
Yeah, but they can't wrap their head around the idea that you can have like magnetic fields in space and you can have gravity. And you know what the really interesting thing is that like gravitational events can create gravitational waves and shocks that can accelerate electrical charges in low density plasma and increase magnetic effects. There's literally interplay between gravity and electromagnetism, and like that is just so far beyond anything that these people can even like think about.
Yeah, well, yeah. Or at least acknowledge that other people have thought about.
Yeah.
They think that people like this always think that they're seeing through the veil of ignorance that has clouded the perspective of all of the experts. And give me one example in science where that has actually happened. Where an outsider came in and said, all of the experts in this are like wrong. I can't think of one that is remotely at the level of if they're right about their model of the universe, I can't think of any parallel in the past. They would be just out of nowhere completely revolutionizing a whole field. It's not a thing. That doesn't mean that they're wrong. Because what I just did was, I guess, an argument from authority to some extent. But
well, I mean, kind of. I mean, but you're referencing actual science, and
yeah, argument from expertise and argument from authority are different.
Different, yes.
I'm not saying
now.
If
they would like to dispute anything, they can like give us an actual fucking equation or any evidence at all, rather than like writings on ancient ruins.
One thing you should learn about this Thornhill guy, who's the chief science consultant for this channel, is that he will say stuff like, there are no physicists today, they're all just mathematicians. Like, whenever they gave the Nobel Prize for the discovery of gravity waves, he was like, well, they gave the Nobel Prize to a bunch of mathematicians again this year, and like literally like actual experimentalists designing like LIGO interferometers, he just claims all mathematicians, and he says that all they're doing is mathematics and not physics.
I would love for him to meet my advisor, my grad school advisor, because the man is not. I mean, he's pretty good at math, but he is not a mathematician, and he has a Nobel Prize.
He thinks that apparently, like, because of the fact that they don't use any equations for their little electric universe BS, like
That means
he's saying,
they're
like,
not even electrical engineers.
No, but he's basically like trying to make the argument that physicists get lost in mathematics, and he's like, these physicists, like, if there's any one symbol that doesn't have physical meaning, then the whole equation is meaningless. And like, despite the fact that physicists can point to the physical meanings of like most of the fucking symbols that they use in their equations, but he basically he has a problem with mathematics, and he says that modern physics has been misled by mathematics, and he says just because you can make a mathematical result that precisely predicts our observations doesn't mean that you're on the right track. That's silly. So that's who we're dealing with here. And he's
like,
the
do
one
I
who's
have to
about
hit this
to
play
debunk
button?
relativity.
A report of a cloud of material that was due to be sort of torn to shreds as it went close to the black hole, and that didn't happen. Well, of course, we're not dealing with gravity, we're dealing with electrodynamics, which is at the...
Why does that disprove gravity?
He says electrodynamics is at the heart of real physics.
Oh my fucking god!
yeah.
Andy, did you not learn real physics? Is that what he's telling us?
In my defense, I use a lot more electrodynamics than I do gravity in my work, even though I'm in the business of detecting gravitational waves, because I'm an experimental atomic physicist, and that's all about the interaction of light and matter, and we just happen to be using it to measure a thing that is a gravitational effect. But I hate this guy.
Wait, are you telling me that you, as an imaginary physicist, are using both gravity and electromagnetism and accounting for both? That can't be done.
Or are you telling us that you can prove an electric universe?
I literally use gravity to calibrate the magnification on my thing by dropping the atoms, seeing how far they fall, and then being like, what's the local gravity acceleration here? And then a few months later, we end up being the people that, like, measure that. But you don't actually need to know good magnification in order to do that measurement. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
The heart of real physics.
I hate you. I hate you, Walt Thornhill. Go play in traffic.
That's the fundamental physics of the universe, is electrodynamics. Gravity is merely a minor effect. We happen to live in an electrically neutral environment where gravity does have an effect that is noticeable.
What? I thought the whole last video they just talked about how they debunked how space is neutral, and now he's saying we just so happen to live in an electrically neutral local area of the universe, like where gravity does have an effect that's noticeable, but that's only for our little solar system, and it just happened to be that way. Is that what he's saying?
I think.
Like, what he's like, it only looks like the universe is debunked when you look at our solar system, which we've measured extremely well, and we've tested relativity to like 1 part in like 50,000 within our solar system, and it comes out as making accurate predictions. But it only looks like that's the case in our solar system just because we happen to live in a part of the universe where it's electrically neutral and gravity has noticeable effects. But the rest of the universe, I swear, I promise you, is not like that.
Yeah. I think.
Okay. Sure.
Don't take my word for it. Take Wall Thornbill's.
But even for us, it is so weak that the entire Earth can't stop us from jumping away from it.
Oh my god.
Even if only for a second or so.
Mm-hmm. That's a flat Earth argument.
Yeah. Gravity is so weak that you can jump. Did you know?
Let me tell you, if it weren't for gravity, I could jump a whole lot farther than I could because of electricity.
Yeah. But he like the fundamental argument that he's making here is that if you can deny gravity for even a second by jumping on the Earth, then somehow that means that the Earth cannot be held in orbit by gravity. And I think that's what he's trying to make the argument for, which is like absurd.
I find this funny. This is an integral shaped filament. It's shaped like the integral sign. See?
Wow. Well, I thought
like,
math.
I appreciate that.
I thought math was great.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But one of the most important phenomena we've talked about for years on Space News is the pervasive filamentary structures, which we see everywhere in the cosmos. Filamentation.
Oh, God.
Oh my god. The little plasma balls. Okay, yeah, because do you know how, like, filaments are not a weird thing, okay? Density produces more density in this case. Where gravitational collapse is a nonlinear phenomena.
They think that filamentation is only produced by, like, electrodynamic effects, despite the fact that, like there are plenty of simulations of, like, dark matter in cosmology, which doesn't interact with electromagnetism at all. Like, you are not accounting
as far as we know.
We're not. But in the simulations, you are not accounting for any electrodynamics at all for just a dark matter simulation. And guess what? It forms filaments. Like,
because that's how it be.
Yeah, gravity itself will form these filaments on, like, cosmological scales. Like, it's not unique to electrodynamics, which is I don't know why they can't get this.
It's absolutely baffling to me.
It's a hazard of not wanting to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
Is produced by electric currents traveling through plasmas. And on the question of what lies at the center of the Milky Way, over a year ago, we were...
That looks like Satan.
That's what lies at the center of our galaxy.
Yeah.
Reported on the discovery of a 2.5 light-year long filament, which appears to reach directly to the center of the Milky Way. So how does this discovery relate to the plasma cosmology theory of a plasmoid at the centers of galaxies?
These filaments, and some of them are twisted.
Wait, what was that?
I believe. Also.
Yeah, we're going. Wait, how does this relate to a plasmoid in the center of galaxies?
Relate to the plasma cosmology theory of a plasmoid at the centers of galaxies.
I mean,
that kind of lost me. Again, I know I don't physics, bro.
That's the question that he's asking to Thornhill, who's going to answer it, and hopefully he'll explain to us how they relate to plasmoids and stuff.
Yeah, I want to pause for a minute and emphasize a difference between electricity and gravity, which may be obvious. It may not be. I don't know. Gravity.
I mean, obviously, it should be said.
Gravity is about mass attracting other mass with like a 1/r² force or a 1/r potential. It doesn't matter. It gets stronger as you get closer together in a particular way, and that's the same way that a positive charge and a negative charge attract each other. However, there is positive charge and negative charge in electricity. And if you have two positive charges, they repel each other. And if you have two negative charges, they repel each other. You have to have opposite charges before they attract each other. Gravity, it's just mass and energy, I suppose. But it's mass, and it all attracts itself, and so you don't have a neutral collection of, like, gravitational mass, and everything attracts itself, and that looks totally different than positive charges only attracting negative charges and like charges repelling each other. If you just, you can throw all the particles you want in there, give them whatever mass you want, all of the stuff, they will not look the same remotely.
I second that.
Yeah.
No, I disagree because magnets exist.
That too. I hate all of you.
These filaments, and some of them are twisted.
You're twisted.
I believe also they've seen a twisted pair of filaments heading.
This guy is like the scientific equivalent of a Neil Breen movie. That's this Twisted Pair joke, because Twisted Pair is a Neil Breen movie. Okay, I'll go.
Into the Sagittarius A star region. The circuit that Hans Alfvén drew all those decades ago, the Nobel Prize-winning plasma physicist, showed that the current, it has to be a circuit. If you've got an electric current, it must be part of the circuit. And he showed
that... Okay, so he's saying that there's some kind of electrical current traveling through the spiral arms of our galaxy. Yeah, could I get a citation for that, please? Can I get somebody and maybe a measurement of this galactic current?
Yeah, it's not something I'm familiar with at all.
Yeah, I need like one of those big things that that Dapper does with citation needed.
Oh, yeah, no, actually, we should see if we can just get that from him.
Right. Just say, whoa, hold on.
It's also if you Google search citation needed, his is like the second most popular GIF on the internet.
Okay.
Which is awesome.
Way to go.
So.
the current would flow in along the galactic arms to the plasmoid in the center.
What's a plasmoid? Did he explain what it is?
He's going to get to it.
Then out along the spin axes.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some distance, he didn't go into where the circuit was completed, but it was...
At some distance, he didn't go into where. Okay,
yeah, he's saying that the current goes out from the spiral arms, which, by the way, there are a lot other shapes that a galaxy can be other than spiral. So how does the current flow in non-spiral galaxies? But like he's just saying, and it just keeps going into some undesignated distance that we don't really know about because we don't really do math in Electric Universe. So
they may not have done math. Alfvén did math.
Yeah.
Okay, like this guy, but
he's
guy
not
that
Electric
is
Universe. Like,
oh, no,
like,
he's not. He's also, I'm sure he's dead by now. But
yeah, he died in the 90s.
He did have some. I think he had some wacky ideas, but you know, people get old. They have wacky ideas. But he didn't think. No, he did not think this. This is, and
like he did have wacky ideas with like plasma cosmology. Like he rejected the Big Bang, and he tried to explain plasma cosmology like without having a Big Bang.
Yeah, but again, he came out with his model in the 40s.
Yeah, and like his model was debunked by stuff like the cosmic microwave background.
Yes.
And
yeah, but
so it was abandoned, except for the Electric Universe people who take it a step that I don't think Hans Alfvén ever would have gone to, which is dismissing gravity in as a whole and just, you know, talking about these, I don't know, this nonsense. We'll listen to what a plasmoid is here.
Circuit. If you've got an electric current, it must be part of the circuit. And he showed that the current would flow in along the galactic arms to the plasmoid in the center and then out along the spin axes.
Wait a minute.
And then
a Nobel Prize-winning scientist said this?
This is not the craziest idea that there might be a net flow of charged particles in this way is not absurd to me.
I mean, he won a Nobel Prize for it, though?
Not for this. No. All of this stuff, this plasma cosmology stuff that Hans Alfvén was doing was after he received his Nobel Prize. And he was very bitter about the physics community for not taking his ideas seriously enough. Despite him winning a Nobel Prize, he still felt like he never got that recognition and respect.
I don't know how much more recognition and respect you can get than a Nobel Prize.
Well, like he was like, why are my ideas still being laughed at, even though I have a Nobel Prize for other ideas in plasma?
For ideas that are not these.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, you know, Isaac Newton, brilliant physicist, also believed in alchemy. Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Einstein did. he gets honestly like more criticism than I think he deserves. When you actually sit down and look at his ideas closely, even the ones that people now all agree are like wrong, if you look at his thinking about them, you're like, okay, actually I agree with like 90% of what you're saying here. And the thing that we disagree on like was sort of settled after you died. So
That's happened to a lot of scientists, actually.
well, it happened. Hopefully, it happens to all of them. Sort of, maybe. I don't know if I.
It depends on what they're looking for. But I mean, I do like this about science because when you make a hypothesis or something, the initial response should be to laugh. We need to see proof, because that's how science should work. And once you prove it, then it's just like, oh, okay, our bad. We'll work this into whatever the science is. But I don't know. It's just because I watch so many videos, and it's always like all the science all around the world for generations are in on this like epic thing to keep real information away from the masses, because reasons. And I'm like, scientists really aren't like that. They are really trying to debunk one another.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. But like, there is something to be said for the fact that there is like politics in science.
Sure.
But
As in
let
everything.
me tell you, if you've got receipts, if you've got the receipts as a scientist, like you did the measurement, you did it properly, you can explain it, you have, a framework to explain it, and you have the data, and you can do it again if they need you to. You're gonna come out with that, and you're gonna try and boss through it, and like.
And it's the lack of all
awesome.
of those things, which is why Electric Universe is laughed at. And
Yes, and there are in between levels too. Okay, this year had a great example of a huge scientific story where the people came out and said, we have measured room temperature superconductivity. That happened this year, and everybody was like, that's nuts. But these are people that work. They're tenured professors at a university. They're not, they think they were right, or they're narcissistic con people that like don't know what they're doing. It's possible, but.
Okay, we've been going on for like 20 minutes on this 10-second clip here. I just want to get to the debunking of relativity.
He didn't go into where the circuit was completed, but it was at some distance from the galaxy. Now, since he put forward that circuit, it's been discovered, of course, that galaxies seem to align their spin axes along what you might call cosmic strings. And
wait, didn't that
beginning now.
Wasn't that a thing? Oh God, I want to say last year they came out with that. Like they were wondering like how the galaxies formed, like why they are where they are, and then like as we're looking at like superclusters and like the strings, and it's
like this, like what you see here, this sort of network kind of.
It is a network. I don't know if it's like that.
So these alignments. So what they're pointing out is how these galaxies are kind of aligned, and they look like they're aligned so that they're, they're sort of in line with the galaxy. Like the filaments go through the plane mostly of the galaxy in these cases. Yeah, that's obvious. I thought they meant the other way. I thought they meant that they were perpendicular, and I was like, how the hell would they be perpendicular? I would expect them all to be in line, because when you have a whole bunch of mass, it goes to the thing, and then it starts stringing along the filament, and when you have mass coming this way and this way, it's not going to go like this. It's going to go like this.
Right.
So that's how a galaxy would form. This is obvious to me.
Yeah, like I don't see why our current understanding of gravity and the forces of the universe
Yeah.
is not explaining what this is. So
Well,
No.
yeah.
To be
No,
able
it
to
actually
map
does.
yeah, that's the crazy thing is that
streams and these
it is explainable with our modern understanding of physics. So we don't need any electrical.
connections between galaxies. Now, none of this makes
it's
any
mad.
sense from
What?
gravitational point of
Why
view,
not?
because gravitation.
Yeah, we know they're centered on the center of mass. Like, do you not understand how this
He
works?
does not understand.
Yeah, I guarantee you. He does not
Yeah,
understand.
that's true. He doesn't.
Forces are centered on a center of mass, not along a line, which a filament is.
What? A line of what? A line of increased mass density, you moron!
Yeah, so apparently to him, gravity cannot create filament structures. But like, citation needed. I think it's just his aversion to math that is making it to where he can't see this.
Yeah, like, you can write a program that will do this simulation in 3 dimensions with particles. It'll take a little while because, like, that's actually a lot to compute. But they've done it with supercomputers, with really, like, the best supercomputers, with really optimized algorithms that do it super efficiently. And you're just wrong, Thornhill.
And like I said, they've done simulations with just dark matter. So like literally no electrodynamics in the simulation, and it still forms filaments.
Yep.
Just from gravity.
Both Hansel
Yeah, it's maddening.
Fane and Halton Arp, in his observational research
know this
into
guy.
galactic
You know what?
forms and structures and behavior.
I don't know this guy.
Oh, Halton Arp. He's famous for making an argument that that redshift is not due to the expanding universe, but before we really had a good idea what quasars were, he was saying that quasars just intrinsically have redshift due to some unknown mechanism, and that
okay.
yeah, and so it's like once we learned that actually like
everything we
like,
see other things besides quasars that have redshift.
Yeah, and once we learned about like accretion disks and how that can create the brightness, and that quasars are really from like the like superheated gas around black holes. Once we learned all that, Halton Arp's whole intrinsic redshift stuff was kind of thrown in the wastebasket.
Yeah,
but not for these people.
Why did that?
Behavior all coincide and form the basis for electric universe cosmology.
See, this is his quasar redshift.
The very idea.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Here is where he finally debunks relativity once and for all.
Okay, my body is ready.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know that you can be ready for this.
You have no idea what my body is.
Einstein is going down.
Of curved space, or space-time as they call it. He have attached 2 words together with a hyphen. Both of them are merely concepts.
He's so angry about that. I mean,
see, because space-time is really just 2 words attached together with a hyphen. Okay, so debunked. And he's saying that both words are merely concepts. So you can't even attach them with a hyphen.
Oh my God.
Concepts, 2 words together with a hyphen. Both of them are merely concepts. They're not physical things. So how you curve non-physical concepts is a question that is not answered.
Yeah, how do you curve non-physical concepts?
By using non-Euclidean geometry, okay? Math is abstract.
Oh, see, that he's not going to like that answer, because
he
has
think
to say that you're not a physicist, you're a mathematician.
I am emphatically not.
Well, if you're using math in your physics, then that's not real physics, that's just mathematics.
I spend a lot less time using math than you might think. It depends on the month, though. I've used a lot of math recently.
Well, how often do you use your Jewish space lasers?
That's
A
classic.
lot. Way more often when I'm not in math mode, actually. I'm in laser mode.
Well, do you want to
and they're
address?
not Jewish space lasers. I just want to be clear about that, okay? I don't want anybody to get any weird ideas.
Do you want to address the claim that space and time are not physical and are purely concepts?
Yeah, you should probably address that.
I don't know what he means by physical. It can on some level become a philosophical argument. Like, as a physicist, I don't actually have a definition for what I call physical that, like, I particularly care about, because the people who get picky about it, like, we have other bigger things to talk about.
All right, so let's talk about your personal definition of physics. Like, I mean,
Physics or physical? Those
physical,
are two different
sorry.
things.
Sorry, physical. I'm
like,
sorry. I'm just
I
like,
don't
my
know.
brain is like checked out right now.
I suppose
a lot of stupid.
I suppose if push comes to shove, something which obeys the laws of physics.
So, Tappy,
No.
Time do
As
that.
as it's pertaining to this, he's saying space time
Yeah,
is bullshit
I-
because it's. No,
Yeah,
I
I'll ask
understand
a very
all
direct
concepts are
question.
made up,
when,
but as a
No.
physicist,
I'm saying space and time space and time have physical properties. The way they are interacting and the way they interact with the contents that are in them, mass, for example, is a formal mathematical theory with exquisite predictive power.
Here,
And-
I'll need to ask you a more direct question here, Tappy.
Thank
When
you.
Olivia Newton-John sang, "Let's get physical," what did she mean?
She meant that Nitty loves titties. That's what she meant.
Nita
Okay,
does
but
look
I,
shady.
honestly, though, I do want to just harp on this, like, genuinely, because so many times in arguments with flat earthers or just random crank jobs, like, or just like normal people in the street, they think that time and space are not like, they're like, oh, it's not a physical
They're not
thing.
material.
It's just a concept, man. It's just an illusion. You
No,
hear that
that-
so much.
Yeah, that they're not tangible and material in the way that most people would probably, and myself included, interpret those words. But they're totally physical. They have properties. They have properties that dynamically respond to their environment. I don't know what you want.
Yeah, I would just say, like, physically, separation between things exists in our physical universe. That's space.
Yeah,
So
and
I mean,
it's
it's
not
not,
just a
that
concept.
hard.
It is an aspect of the physical universe. It's not just an abstract concept. Same with time.
yeah, and it's not just the stage in which the physical universe happens either.
Yeah.
I'm more sympathetic to that view, but that view is also not.
Yeah, because it's dynamic and it can be curved
Yeah.
and altered. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
He already talked about gravitational lensing. We've already seen this at work.
Yep.
And we're shown diagrams where you have a heavy object on what looks like a rubber sheet being deformed, the rubber sheet being deformed by the weight of this object. But that uses gravity to explain gravity or to describe it.
I actually I have some sympathy to this point of view. This is not how I would visualize gravity. I would not use a sloped thing like this.
Okay,
Even
come
though
on. Stop having sympathy for this, Taffy. There's no sympathy that this deserves. He's literally saying, oh, but this sheet is only being pushed down because
of gravity.
of gravity. So, like, he's saying, like, he's literally taking this physically, like, instead of being an abstract representation
I'm with
of
you. I'm with
relativity
you.
and gravity, he's saying, like, he's taking it
it's
literally.
circular. He's like, it's circular because you're using gravity to prove gravity.
Yeah.
And that's dumb.
But
and that's super dumb because you could totally be using these could be magnetic like suns and earths, and you could be using magnets. Okay? And for the record, nobody knows how magnets work. It's all a conspiracy.
Like, okay,
These are facts.
there are plenty of illustrations of the curvature of space-time in 3 dimensions, not just with this 2-dimensional fabric that is like been super popular, but they've done 3-dimensional illustrations of it, which totally don't look at all like a little stretched piece of canvas or whatever that's literally being weighed down by gravity. Like, it's not circular. Like, it's literally he's trying to debunk general relativity based on just a common way to illustrate it for lay people.
Because and it's a great way, because if you roll a marble through this landscape, it's going to deflect like it would in a gravitational like sort of thing because of the curvature of the space. And yeah.
And it doesn't make much sense if you think about it.
Well, it certainly doesn't make much sense when you think about it, lol. So, you're not wrong.
Deleting the force of gravity raises the simple question, well, what is it that stretches the spring on the balance that measures the kilo of, potatoes? That is a force.
What? Did I just hear that sentence correctly? Deleting the force of gravity raises the question of what stretches that spring on a bag of potatoes?
On a scale when you're weighing a kilo of a bag of potatoes.
Why was it so specific? Why are we talking about potatoes?
I mean,
I was going to ask that.
I'm okay with the potato talk. Like, I'm into potatoes. You know,
See, he does this every stream.
I've smoked a lot of bowls out of potatoes.
You know, okay.
We feel a force. You know, we're very well aware of it when we fall over. You cannot just make it a trick of geometry. So that's the first problem.
Want to bet?
Yeah, I mean, that's literally, geodesics. Like, this.
Yeah,
it is a geometric, like curved space-time.
This is also one of those things. I don't grok this myself. I need to learn general relativity more properly. It's on my to-do list, but like, yeah, you can. It turns out you actually can. You can totally just talk about gravity as just being a geometrical thing.
Yeah,
and just because you think you can't doesn't like tough.
And
You're wrong.
The observations in our universe have supported that geometrical view within like 1 part in 50,000 or something like that. So very precisely.
Yeah.
The major problem with black hole theory and the Big Bang is this idea that you can have a concentration of mass or energy at a point. Well, a point.
In the context that he's trying to elucidate right now, actually, yes, because he's trying to talk about the absurdity of that amount of mass density, which
I think he's talking about singularities, right?
Yeah. That but not even just singularities. I think he's talking also just about the slightly more simple sort of point of view that you can't fit that much mass in that spot. He's
straight up. He's talking about point, a zero-dimensional
point. Is non-physical.
Well, okay, yeah, but
singularity.
Physicists don't talk about the singularity because, like, obviously we don't know what we're talking about there. So
yeah,
physical. No physical object, not even a subatomic particle, can occupy zero space.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Seriously?
Yeah, so he's saying the problem with black holes and the Big Bang is that there's a singularity there, and so that's the problem, which, like, yeah, guess what? That is a problem. We don't have a theory of quantum gravity.
But that's my point, though. Like, when I'm saying, like, black hole theory, I understand that black holes are part of the theory of relativity, but, like, I mean, you can call it a black hole theory if you want. I mean, they are there.
Yeah,
but
seen
the singularity
them now.
Isn't
like
a
we
point
have photos.
Right.
No, that's actually just a photo of plasmoid. He's gonna get to that.
Oh, for fuck's sake! All right, but like, I mean, I think I don't know why everybody thinks that a singularity is just like a point. It's not. It's a point at which the math breaks down.
Yes.
We're not saying that there's something there.
It is a mathematical... the term singularity, the term singular point, is a mathematical term that refers to the function 1 over x has a singular point at x equals 0.
Which is problematic.
Yeah, that sounded like a whole bunch
just,
of mathematician speak right there, Tappy. Not a lot of
I
physics.
mean, he wants us to listen to his, English? So this guy is Shakespearean speech? That's way better for talking about physics. He can go jump in a lake.
We see all kinds of mathematical concepts being put forward as
I hate you so much, Wall.
being physical, and this has created huge confusion. In fact, the language has become largely meaningless. Even more so when you consider that there is...
The precision with which mathematics is able to describe things is very far from meaningless.
Oh, he's about to tell you there's no physical definition for two concepts.
What?
Like,
I don't want...
just wait for it.
There's
Just
no
wait for
physical definition of it has become largely meaningless. Even more so when you consider that there is no physical definition of the quantities mass and energy.
Oh my god!
What does that mean? What does that mean?
There is no physical definition of what mass and energy is. That's what
I don't even
Energy-
understand. No, I don't know how to take that. Does it mean there's no actual definition? Like no physical definition? Like, do I need to write it down for it to be a physical definition? Like,
I don't know.
what? How does that make it make sense?
Wait. I'm gonna provide a physical definition for mass and energy. Are you ready? Real quick.
Do I need to write it down
mass-
so it's a physical definition?
Mass is a quantity of matter in an object or area, and energy is the capacity to do work. There you go. There's two physical definitions. I hope Thornhill is happy.
Yes.
I don't know what I don't know like how you put those words together and sense happens. Like, I need words to equal sense.
Mathematical definitions for these words apparently, and no physical ones. I have no idea.
I would also say, if I were to get pedantic, which I'm not equipped to do right now, the definition of mass, it has some subtleties that I've never understood properly. But energy, it's the capacity to do work.
Just is.
Get wrecked, son.
I learned that in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
The 5th grade. I was 10 years old and I comprehended that. I don't... It's just why it's so hard for me to take this seriously. Like, how do you...
Just wait until Thornhill learns about them taking mass and energy and putting them together with a hyphen. Just wait until he figures out mass energy. His mind's going to explode.
Now, that means we don't understand E equals MC squared.
You certainly don't.
Come on, Einstein, tell us what you meant.
Oh, God.
Explain it.
It's not that, it's not that hard.
Nobody can explain it at present. No physicist.
They explain it.
They literally can. It's just, mass and energy. You can transfer between the two. Oh.
Yeah, mass is basically frozen energy in a certain weird sense. Not particularly directly applicable to.
Oh, God.
Find their terms. And the problem has been the dominance of mathematicians in physics rather than physicists and what we call natural philosophers.
Wow.
Those were the broader education, the ones who got us through the 19th century with the huge number of developments, which actually brought us to the brink of the electric universe model in the...
This guy probably thinks that Thomas Edison was the greatest physicist of all time.
Nope, it's actually Tesla.
Is it Tesla? It's
totally
Tesla.
Of course.
Wait, did Tesla? Wait, do we have an electric universe model in the 1800s?
No.
Tesla. This guy. Of course, I don't even know why I said Edison. I guess because if you look at Tesla gets all credit for everything Edison did now from a certain group of people, and that's
Yes.
also just like not correct.
Yes.
I mean,
Because that's
there's
not how that
something
works.
about-
No, Edison was dumb. He had no. Oh wait, was that Einstein?
both of them.
Both.
Both.
Volcano
Yeah.
was-
No,
There's
Einstein didn't know shit. He just stole Tesla's information and published it, and left Tesla penniless.
Like, look, I don't dislike Tesla, okay, but
I don't dislike him either.
Yeah,
I
no,
dislike
he did a
the
lot of
point I was trying to make
characterization.
is like I don't dislike him, but I have noticed that all the people on the internet that like that
Fetishize
don't
him.
agree with science and like they're like the flat earthers, the electric universe people, young earth creationists, all these people love Nikola Tesla.
It's
Like-
a fetishization of him, yeah.
I just noticed it's so weird. They're like, Einstein, he was an idiot. He was wrong. Everything Tesla said was absolutely correct, though. And like,
Mhm,
I don't get it.
Which
Like, all
is
these people,
maddening.
they hate scientists but love Tesla.
Well, when you
Tesla
have a
wasn't
bullshit
good
theory,
scientist.
you have to have your science guide to refer
He
to.
was a pretty good
And then you just show their picture while you're spewing your bullshit. And then everyone believes you.
I mean, that's what he's doing, right? Look at this
That's
dapper
what they all
guy right
do.
here.
That's what
So
they
I'll
all
go ahead and play
do.
back.
It's like rare. Like probably every other stream somebody does this.
This guy
Random
looks,
bullshit. Also, Nikola Tesla.
Okay, I gotta say that in my experience with sort of historical tropes, the perfectly circular small glasses, concerning.
In particular, and his electrodynamics law, that you don't hear about that. I never heard anything about that at university. And when you look in the textbooks, you won't find anything about it.
Wow.
We are not.
Isn't
Are you
there a
telling me that the
unit named
universe,
that?
the universities don't spew random bullshit? They just won't tell you about it at all?
Yeah, I mean, there. I think he was
The fuck's up
referring
with
to a
that?
scientist that I might have heard of, and criticizing why we haven't heard of them. So there's that too. It's always fun
yeah,
when-
I mean,
I
there's
love
a lot
it when
of
people
scientists
call
out
me
there.
out. I love it when people call me out for not knowing about a thing that I know about. It's always very entertaining because I'm willing to know when I don't know about like a specific thing in detail. Also, like, we're hanging out. It's a good time. This isn't.
yeah, that
I'm not a
happens.
college professor.
Not given ideas to compare and think for ourselves. And that is the failure of education these days. We're just given things to remember and facts which are not facts but conjectures quite often. The result is that you are unfit for the job once you leave university.
I have the job I want, absolutely. I mean, I'm still in university, I suppose, but
Also, how does Thorn? I don't think Thornhill has any experience in any PhD program. So, like, how does he
I
know
hope
what
not.
Grayson is?
I hope
Do
not.
we know his
I can't remember. I feel like I used to know, but I don't actually off the top of my head.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I've said this
hold on.
before,
Oh, sorry.
that electrical
Pulling up
engineers
this
are the
way.
ones who should be doing astrophysics.
What was that? You're pulling it up?
Yeah, he
Well,
has
let
a,
us
he
know
has an
which one.
undergraduate
Because it is an
degree in physics from the University of Melbourne.
Okay, well, that
Okay, well,
But he has no graduate level education.
I guess this is where my elitism comes into play.
Electrodynamic.
You were not
universe.
taught to think critically in your PhD. All you had to do
No,
was
yeah.
memorize facts that are not facts.
you know what I really love is when he was it Wheeler's chat that you jumped into and you were like, I am a PhD physicist. And they just started clowning him.
I love hanging
Like,
out
sorry
in
you
Wheeler's
wasted all that
chats.
money, bro.
I'm like, bro, they paid me. You know that, right? Like, I didn't pay anything for grad school. Which is a
Financial
deal
money.
that most disciplines don't get that, and it's extremely beneficial for the field. I will say.
It is not a gravitational universe.
Yes, it is.
Well, of all the issues we've talked about on Space News, I think the most powerful evidence for cosmic scale electric currents is, of course, cosmic magnetism. So when it's not technologically possible to directly measure electric currents, the way that scientists can infer their presence and their strength is indirectly through the magnetic fields that they must produce. So at every opportunity, I remind the audience just how recently mainstream gravity-centric cosmology downplayed or even dismissed the idea of cosmic scale magnetic fields. Here, for maybe the third time, I'd like to read this quote from the...
I don't like this man.
Maybe you're just trying to downplay cosmic magnetism.
Magnetism, the whole thing is a hoax. I have nothing good to say about it. So, we got Peter in chat saying that Tesla proved created guys. I don't know what to do with this.
The 1999 online NASA feature, which asked the question, do magnetic fields exist throughout space?
Where else would they exist?
How can they exist without a concept?
Yeah, that's fair point.
And it states, on the cosmological scale, there is no data to suggest that magnetic fields are present. They certainly are not important in the dynamics of the universe for any reasonable range of field strengths consistent with present observational constraints.
That might be... I actually don't know if that's true or not. I haven't heard of them being like a major dynamic thing, but like... Certainly local effects of magnetic fields are rife, and we see them all over. Like
I just want to say, like, even with, like, they're trying to bring up this comment of saying, like, how close-minded NASA was in 1999 or whatever, but, like, this is a very measured statement. Like, they're saying, like, there is no data to suggest that magnetic fields are present. They didn't say that they're not present. They just said we don't have data to suggest that. And then they said, like, you know, they're not necessary or important to the dynamics, like, consistent with present observational constraints. Like, they're just saying that we don't have to factor in these large-scale magnetic fields to explain our current observables. Like, they're not saying anything about, like, they're not dismissing it. They're not saying it doesn't exist. They're just, like, using the data to explain. Like, I don't know. Like, this is not the dismissive thing that they're trying to, like, pin it NASA as.
I agree completely.
So why don't you discuss what has actually been discovered about cosmic magnetism and why it's so important for the electric universe and plasma cosmology?
Now, one of the beliefs that's inculcated in students and postdocs as well, at all levels in astrophysics, is that electricity plays no particular role in the universe, which is quite incredible when you think of the use.
What?
That was not inculcated into you in your postdoc?
No, I'm in my postdoc right now, and it is not being inculcated into me. Like,
so you don't walk in the morning and they're like, "Hey, good morning, Tappy. Remember, electricity plays no role in the universe."
I don't even know what that means. Like, circuit design is an extremely important and useful skill in the laboratory. You don't need to have it, but
these people say that there's an entire galactic circuit. Like, the large scale structure of the universe is a circuit.
Wait, universal or galactic? Because
no, like, universe, like the galaxies form nodes of the circuit or something.
Well, that's just all right then.
Use we have for electricity, that the universe has no use for it. And when you map magnetic fields, which the radio telescopes have done for decades,
that's a galaxy, bro. That's a mass distribution. That's not what are you? I don't know what this is. I need more information.
And more recent telescopes have been built which are able to do it even better. They find that
that's polarized emission at 30 gigahertz, okay? That's not a magnetic field. Those are not the same thing.
But, like, there are, like, weak galactic magnetic fields. It's like, it is.
Yeah, and and I would not be at all surprised if they followed that pattern. But like, he hasn't provided. I can't read what those say, but this one just says polarized emission. This is talking about radiation at 30 gigahertz and if it is polarized or not, and because it's from the Planck satellite. And the concepts are going to be related because you might get some polarization and certain signals from like Faraday rotation effects and whatnot. Polarization patterns and isotropies in the CMB are a lot harder to detect than other ones, for a lot of reasons. But
universe is almost, in fact, they've come to the point now where they think that magnetic fields play a large role in star formation, because they've been able to map the magnetic fields in star-forming regions inside molecular clouds. Now, this kind of modern observation technique is showing more and more often the fact that magnetic fields are everywhere. And not only that, they are structured. They're not chaotic, which is what...
What do you... Well,
yeah, I just want to make the point here that everything that he's saying could be true, and gravity is still a thing.
Yeah, and gravity is definitely the dominant thing at these scales, according to all of our information. And it's because you can have a neutral distribution of charge and therefore magnetism. Magnetism is caused by moving charges. It's only slightly magical, but gravity, it's all one charge and it's all attractive. It's totally different, and it's way stronger when you have all the stuff, because it doesn't cancel itself out. Electricity and magnetism kind of cancel themselves out a little bit in this sense for massive particles. For massless particles, totally the other way. But
I really don't understand like why people, I mean, well, okay, flat earthers, gravity like really fucks with their whole worldview. But I don't understand why people go so hard on gravity. Like, we must debunk it.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, I think a significant chunk of it is because if you debunk gravity, you've debunked Einstein. And Einstein is like the person that everybody's got to debunk. And if you super debunk gravity, you debunked Einstein and Newton, and like that would be pretty hardcore, right? Like,
I mean, that would be badass. And again, it doesn't prove that Jesus existed, but like,
I don't even know if these guys believe in Jesus. I mean, they're talking about
not even him. Not even him.
The cosmic archetypes of like the freaking war god of Mars or whatever. Like,
not him per se. I'm talking about the overall like gravity deniers. But I don't. I mean, okay. I don't understand why. Like, okay, there is. If we find this theory of everything, we could rename gravity, but it doesn't like prove that this is something else. Like the phenomena is still there. And to say that, like, oh, it's not gravity, it's electricity, I'm having a hard time connecting that.
Because it doesn't follow. That's why.
Well, they just haven't been able to wrap their heads around both gravity and electromagnetism exist. Like, they haven't figured that out.
Yeah, you gotta, As far as I can tell, you know.
That it's
I know DeFreak has been in the chat, like I think. Unless I'm
DeFreak's in the chat, and DeFreak, I do appreciate most of your comments, but we're gonna stay away from anything that can be possibly culturally charged. Thank you.
I can't tell if DeFreak is agreeing with us or disagreeing with us on the.
He's agreeing. He's agreeing with.
That's what I thought. Like I was like, okay. I missed
chaos and whatnot, but they find ordered fields, particularly around spiral galaxies. And you do not have a magnetic field without electric currents.
That
Electric currents
There we go.
are
I agree with
absolutely
that.
necessary because you need an accelerating force on a charged particle to generate the magnetic field. And the ordered magnetic fields indicate ordered electric currents, all of which matches the filamentary nature of the universe, which has also been discussed.
You do not actually need an accelerating charge to produce a magnetic field. A charge that is just moving at a constant rate will produce a magnetic field.
You know what can also accelerate an electric charge? Gravity. Like,
I'm not aware of any examples of charged massless particles. None. I'm not aware of any.
Nope.
Yep.
I can't think of any either, but
Yeah, and it's like one where you have to stop and pause because you're like, have I even heard of like that as an idea? Like, no, I don't even know how. It's an interesting one though.
Discovered.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, there we go.
it's being discovered. You heard it there.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that happened.
Yep.
Boom.
So that was,
Yeah.
I just want to be very clear. That was just scratching the surface of everything that the Thunderbolt project has to offer. Like,
Oh.
they have debunked dark matter, they have debunked the Big Bang, and they've gone into like they've debunked LIGO and the gravitational waves there. Black holes. It was weird for a video about black holes. He didn't really debunk black holes at all or talk about
Right?
Or
about
yeah, or even really talk about them.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that channel is like the gift
Well-
that keeps on giving.
They talked about the stuff going around a thing, but
Yeah.
they didn't really talk
Yeah.
about what it wasn't.
He didn't talk
was
about
or
it being a
wasn't going
plasmoid
around.
at all. For some reason, I thought that was a video where he does talk about plasmoids, but it wasn't. I mean,
Oh,
I mean, he said it.
We finished off on some choice magnetism content, so I think
yeah,
I think that everybody should be satisfied.
Yeah, well-
yeah.
it's very important for everybody to keep in mind that Electric Universe is very, very dead and debunked.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
Dead
like
in the water.
all of the things that they're appealing to could like exist in some small way. They're not what's driving galaxy. No, it's not. It's just not.
Yeah, it's like they keep bringing up like, wow, scientists are learning more about cosmic scale magnetic fields, and like, I agree, that's cool. And then they conclude that therefore gravity doesn't exist and it's all electrodynamics. And I'm like, huh? We were just agreeing that cosmic magnetic fields are really cool. And like, I like that science. I want to learn more about cosmic magnetic fields. That sounds really interesting. That
Right?
doesn't mean that I'm throwing away gravity. Like, in my gravity-centric universe.
Absolute madness.
Like,
Yeah.
I recognize that gravity is one of 4 fundamental forces. So, yeah, it's not gravity-centric universe. There's more forces out there than just gravity. It's like they can't conceive of a universe where more than one force exists. They're like, you either have the gravity universe or you have the electromagnetic universe. There's no in between there. They can't both exist. That would be preposterous.
Yeah.
And somehow consciousness is also involved in all of this.
Somehow, yeah. They really didn't connect the dots on that one. I don't even know.
I think like they have just so many videos on their channel about so
Yeah.
many different steps of like them debunking like mainstream accepted science on like so many different fronts that like they definitely have to have consciousness videos out there. But the one time that the one thing that I haven't seen them debunk that I would love to see an Electric Universe person debunk is the cosmic microwave background. None of them want to touch it. I mean, it's like the best defeater for plasma cosmology. And guess what? It literally is plasma. You have to use plasma physics when you're describing like the events, like the physics that produce the cosmic microwave background. You're using plasma physics to do that. And they give us very, very precise measurements of like the power spectrum and everything. Like this is like it's like maybe the strongest evidence for like our current cosmological
It
framework.
is.
And
The CMB data is definitely the strongest evidence. I'm gonna be having a conversation, I think, next Saturday,
Yeah.
right?
I was gonna get to that.
It might be the first. We might have more conversations, but yeah.
oh, so Daryl would not talk to me, but he'll talk to you.
Well, part of it was I kind of wanted to have a conversation where I was able to like raise all the points that I wanted and not share.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. I was trying to get Daryl. I was trying to get
Yeah.
Daryl on for this week, but I do agree. Well, Tap and I were talking, and I don't want it on for a Bad Science Sunday because I think that it sets the wrong precedent.
Yeah.
It really is going to be more of a conversation and not, well, Daryl's Bad Science. So I didn't want to have it be on a Sunday. And I didn't want it to seem contentious because having it on with the Bad Science Sunday slot makes the chat have certain conceptions about how the conversation is going to go. And I really, I don't want it to go like that. I was going to ask you if you're open to doing a Saturday, but Tap was like, mine.
Yeah, he wants
like,
it all to himself. I got it.
Well, like a little bit. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I'm just, I part of it is, I kind of want it to be. I'm not sure I want to have just one conversation. I might want to have like more, and then, but like I want to be able to like get a baseline of the positions because I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I have had like Big Bang debates before. I mean, Tappy, you've helped moderate one with Sal Cordova.
Yeah.
But
oh God,
it's
you
like-
did one with Sal?
yeah,
What was that?
April.
yeah, and they have.
Was that on your channel
explanation.
or was it on his?
Yeah, I've re-uploaded.
It was on
my channel.
It was now it's on his channel.
And
Atheist Edge and I were like the people hosting it.
There is like,
Oh,
you know, for all
no, I want to go see that.
For all these Big Bang like detractors, they literally never have an explanation for the cosmic microwave background, and much less an explanation for the power spectrum of the cosmic microwave background. That's what I want them to explain, because we have like very well understood physics for like how you get the power spectrum of the cosmic microwave background. Like it's very well understood mathematically, and it gives you a very precise prediction that was tested. Like the prediction was made decades before the observation, and it's just so strong.
The form of it was there are fittable parameters. You have free parameters in the theory that you can fit.
You've got maybe 5 or 6 like free parameters when there are thousands of degrees of freedom that
I agree with you.
I
totally agree with you.
Yeah, so I want them to have. I want somebody who doesn't accept the Big Bang to explain how they could possibly explain the power spectrum of the cosmic microwave background, because it requires a starting point. Like you have like 2 boundary conditions, one at recombination, that is the CMB that we see, and then the other one at the starting point when all of the waves were like coherent with each other. Like those are your boundary conditions. So like how, without a Big Bang, could you possibly get like the power spectrum of the cosmic microwave background if this is all just plasma and it's just space dust that's making all this microwaves? Like they have no explanation for it.
Did you want to tell the chat like kind of your history with Daryl Frost?
I just argue with him on live chats. He will not talk.
But it's so awesome. I love seeing you two in the side chat.
Yeah, because I don't know. I've argued with him about this topic. I'm jealous that Tappy actually got him to talk, because I've been trying to get him on the stream to talk.
He didn't. He did not. Okay, so what actually happened was me, right? Like I don't know how I did it because all I do is make fun of him. And I like lured him into a Discord conversation, and then from there, Tap totally stroked the shaft, and now
Swallow the
he's
gravy.
now he's going to be on my channel apparently next Saturday, and yeah, that's coming up.
Dang, you all worked your charms. I guess I just.
It was not my idea. I don't have anything against Daryl, but like I've spent so much time just kind of like giggling and running off whenever he says stuff. I'm over it, right? It's like, well, Daryl has thoughts, and definitely in English. So those are English words. I don't know what they mean in that order, but whatevs. But he sparks a lot of conversation, so I do like it when he's in my chat because he's always pissing people off, and I find that funny. It makes me
I just
giggle.
love debating this topic of like the Big Bang, and I never find people that are actually willing to debate about like the cosmic microwave background because it's usually just such a defeater for any alternative to the Big Bang that like nobody wants to touch it. So like
Yeah.
I don't know, like I love debating.
I see what you're saying. I've been trying to prepare for it because I don't know as much about the topic as I would like to know.
I'll send you. There's a really great lecture series on specifically like CMB physics. I think it's like 5 parts or something that is pretty great from.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I guess since we're talking about shit coming up, yeah, next Saturday is and what did we agree on? Was it still 6:00 your time or no?
I think so. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, because it was might have been. Yeah, that sounds right.
sure, we'll go with
he's-
that. What?
He's Australia time or something.
So at 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST. Okay, so 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then that'll be noon Aussie time, but on Sunday. Let's say Aussie time, like there's not like 3 or 4 different time zones in Australia.
Time is just a concept.
Yeah, Aussies, yeah, I know. Aussies, you can work your magic from there. You know where you are. So that's Saturday, and then Sunday next week, I believe we have Ryan. The following Saturday, I'm going to be on Skeptic Haven doing. I don't know. They keep forgetting that I'm not an atheist, but I'm doing an atheist Christmas thing. And then on
Okay.
yeah,
What are
right.
you, Maya?
I am not an atheist. And then the following Sunday, we're going to have Purple. That's going to be our last BSS stream for the year. The following Sunday, we're going to be in our normal slot, but we're going to be part of Purple's Christmas marathon stream, which will start from like midnight on Christmas Eve and go until midnight the day after Christmas Day. Like 48-hour stream.
Holy cow.
Yeah, no, I'm just doing the 2 hours. I might do another 2 hours. I told her that I would do another 2 hours on Christmas if she was having problems finding people's slots. But I'm going to be here at my normal time on the following Sunday, so Christmas Eve. But it's like a thing. So usually we just stream hop. I may or may not have a video, depending on how many people. Like I'll have a video ready, but we may or may not play it depending on how many people are in there because, people like to talk and I want to keep the flow of whatever's going on.
I also can't guarantee that I will be there on Christmas.
No, you're not expected to be there. It's totally fine.
I might be able to, but like on my phone or something. Cause
it's Christmas Eve. You're not, yeah, it's not a normal BSS stream. It won't be, it's just in the BSS slot. Yeah. But it's not a BSS stream.
Purple's been doing this this marathon for what year is this now?
6? Did she say 6? I think she said 6. I have to
Yeah.
double check that, but it's been a while. But she'll show that out in 2 weeks, which is why I have her coming on for the last BSS stream for the year, so she can chill out all the shit. The week after that is New Year's Eve, so I want you guys to all find a loved one, go out, party, do whatever you're doing, and I'm not expecting people to show up for New Year's Eve. So the following Sunday will be our first stream in January, and we'll be doing whatever the fuck we do. I may or may not, if I can find, I think we're at 412, and I said my next stream will be a 420 stream. I may or may not do a birthday stream, which is in like next Thursday. If we can like dupe 8 more people to come on by Thursday, then we'll do a 420/birthday stream. And if not, fuck it. The absolute next open stream, other than the Christmas stream, will be our anniversary stream, which is going to be mid-January.
Boom.
So that's all the shit we have coming. We have a lot of shit coming up. But you know what? Enough about us. More about us. Grayson. Who are you? Where are you? And what do you have coming up?
Yeah, so my channel is Based Theory. You can just search Based Theory on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I'm the only thing that comes up. So I'm working on kind of 2 videos about science in general, and then I've got a few debates coming up. I'm going to be doing one video highlighting like 10 transitional fossils for like evolution, because creationists often say that there's no such thing as transitional fossils. So I'm just going to go through some of the cool ones, some of the lesser known ones. Like people bring up whale evolution all the time, but nobody ever talks about manatee evolution. What's up with that? And then I'm going to actually, coincidentally, on this topic, I was also planning on doing a video specifically about the power spectrum of the CMB, just because I've been arguing with Daryl about it so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just have to lay out my thoughts on this. I wanted to do it in a debate with Daryl, but because he's not down for that, apparently,
No, that wasn't Daryl's decision. Daryl, that was me that pushed.
Well,
I want to be clear.
100%.
I've been trying myself to try to get him to talk about this with me, and
I know, which
Yeah,
is why I
he
was
won't.
trying to invite you, but Andy's being
so then
mean.
I just wanted to have a video to lay out my thoughts about the power spectrum and why it's such such strong evidence, not just for the Big Bang, but also like inflation and dark matter and dark energy, the whole lambda CDM model basically. And then I've got some debates I'm going to be finally going through. I think that this is a rite of passage for any atheist YouTuber. I'm going to be debating Darth Dawkins.
Oh,
So look out for that one. Really,
God, why?
I just feel like it's a rite of passage. I debated Kent Hovind, and so I feel like I've just got it coming that I have to talk with Darth. I'm not really that into metaphysics, so we'll see how it goes. I'm more of just I'm into regular physics, but we'll see. And then I'm also, I think, trying to get a debate scheduled on Modern Day Debate that's going to be more so about whether or not the resurrection of Jesus Christ happened. So definitely a lot of different topics there, but just things on the horizon.
Oh, it's going to be so painful. I have to watch. You know what you need to do, though?
What's
You
that?
need to do, oh, shit, like a debate breakdown or whatever with Jefferson Spatchcock. Like, I need to see that. Like, yeah.
I don't know who that is, so
That's totally fine. That's totally fine.
Well,
we all do. And I will
he's
get
a
you on-
Dawkins connoisseur.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, good luck trying to get him off this. So, like, it would be better if you were just there, and I will hook you up. But
Okay.
yeah, no,
We'll be all
I
over it.
do the Darth stream for as long as you're able to, because he has his script, and you're not allowed to go off script. You understand this, right?
That's okay. I'm gonna let him. It's okay for him to interrupt me, but I can't interrupt him. It's okay for him to ask questions in the middle of my sentences, but I can't ask him questions ever. I understand the rules of engagement.
You do understand that you're gonna have to like explain, how like logic works, and you're not God worldview and the whole nine.
Yep. Metaphysical coherentism. Yay.
Yeah.
I'm learning all about metaphysics.
Good fucking luck. All right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have Al Trucker play us out.
Oh my god.
Al had a stream. I think this was last Sunday, and I love him so much. And
I love Al. We play chess all the time now. It's great.
oh, wait a minute.
Great big clock around my neck, and I got like a great big beat going down and going. Can you imagine a beat? All right. Life is like a simile for a metaphorical word that has no analogs, and I'll call it a pane of broken glass, shattered fragments of a fluid sands, the tiny grit of a trillion bands, the stretched music of a windy cove that houses the uterus of a stone-cold hole. She lies in slumber as a mountain mud and crumbles softly in the bite, lashed fast to a mizzen mast with glances that broken bond, covalent, coherent, a green faded memory of a foamy sea. The dye of the hydrogen holds on to the oxygen and eats the iron for an eternity. Orange and rusty, rhyme is dusty, lime is crusty. She's pretty busty, moldy clay in a ship crash bay. The bird is wide and glaring, can't stop staring at my lace of throat. Eating goats for supper, dripping juices from a scupper. The waves are crashing, the people keep trashing. Any other thought can't be bought by $1 or a coin. Boing boing bingo, barbecue dingo, flat out beach ball. Volleys of words, so absurd, you can't stop eating tapioca custard. Like a night of driving limp eyes and jiving to the music in the tires. Stay out of the mires and the moors, keep grinding to beat to the load of meat. Cheese is liquid, comments are flippant. Lyrics can't stop flowing like a river of fire to the iron spire. Baked in the sun, the gold had a run. It sits on the banks of money, dripping honey, live, hive. Drive, the cones of electric circles, jerking orbits, hill of drills, the thrill of a dill, more than blue pills, it's the balls of a hair, down in there, mud is chewed like cud in the quadrop tripe, fishing with a pike on a dike, like similarly, superlative seditions make conditions tough for us to have luck on a bus, full of pus and stones and bones, her cave moans, Roger that on a radioactive, pretty attractive. Gravity, these nuts ain't crazy. I'm not lazy. Eyes for Jones in a mountain of tail. Got a pail of tails to share with ginger ale. Route with stout in a root stew. The man is straw, the raven craw, eating up nonsense like a boiled horse paw. Can you dig the mud? Come in a flood of juicy stones. This dude ain't tripping on continental dragons. He keeps on ragging. Scales to scale of a stone hammer. Ale is pale, like Lorentz contracted, like an inframetric furno, a proton bounce by the ounce of weight. No mass has ass like a bounce pass up the hill and in the valley. Going to a pub with a Ducal Mally. It's up her alley. Mortar at the door to the cave of the race of a nonstop lunatic. You dig these licks? All right. Everybody, that was it.
Go Al.
Wow.
All right.
The
Al.
next Eminem for sure.
I'm just saying, right? The Canadian Eminem. All right. So yeah, I said Al is gonna play us out, and we'll see you next week, everybody. All right. So bye.